this stew, and her name is Minerva Oaks. She's the flower of the Gower Gulch.
Welcome to the show.
Don't start! We haven't left yet!
Yeah. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is time once again for Aaron Live, probably in your top 100 favorite YouTube podcast streams you can watch. I mean, I hope I'd make it into the top 100. I've never actually made it into the top 100 of all-time comic book artists, but maybe YouTubers. Maybe I could be the top 100. I don't know. Maybe not that either. Oh my gosh. So I mowed the lawn, pulled the weeds, not all the weeds, but a decent amount, and got in the shower, took a really hot shower because I thought, even though it's sunny outside right now, I'm still kind of got the winter cold that hasn't really left my bones completely. And I thought, take a hot shower after working in the yard. It will keep you warm throughout this entire broadcast. So I can just wear this great shirt right here with Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and UFOs. Three things I firmly don't believe in, but I still believe in promoting them. And I think it's going to work. The only problem is I might fall asleep, or if you spend too much time in a hot tub or something, like, can't you like stroke out or something? I know something can happen to you. So I don't know if I'm just like, after 5 minutes, you'll know why. Okay. So a lot to talk about today. I have our good friend Mike Barron will be joining us today because he said, Aaron, got this thing called Bronze Star 2 Electric Boogaloo, and he wanted to do a little promotion. I guess it's closing out soon, just like my own Barbaric Adventures is closing out soon. So but we'll give Mike a little spotlight today and see what he's got to say. I don't have any snacks today. I probably could use some sugar right now because I am like, my daughter had her, so she's part of this professional dance company, and they just did their performance for their spring season performance that we went and saw, and it was great. It was fantastic. And so we were up pretty late last night, and she has several of her friends are staying with us. One drove down from Washington, one came up from San Francisco, one flew in from Phoenix. Two of them flew in from Phoenix. And so there I was making breakfast this morning and cleaning up the kitchen. And then I drew like one panel of Zorro. And then I said, man, I got to mow the lawn. I got to do it because you don't know around here when it's going to start raining again. So I'm sure I told you guys that I was able to fix my lawnmower that was giving me so much trouble early on. Everybody gave me great suggestions. But what I ended up doing was taking the cover off the carburetor, spraying in that instant start stuff directly into the carburetor, and then pouring like some gunk out stuff in with the gasoline to kind of clear out the lines. Working like a charm. So I got out there and mowed the lawn, pulled little weeds. One of those days where here we are at 3 o'clock Pacific time. I feel like I've accomplished something. But I got to finish that Zorro page tonight. I got slapped with a deadline on Zorro. So now it's like, oh my gosh. So anyway, back to the old DC days, working 6 days a week. I can feel it in my bones. But anyway, there you go. Now that's all I got to complain about so far. Let's see who's here. DF. Now, whenever the number is behind or after the name, I don't know if that's part of their name or if that's just like that StreamYard name that you now get, or a YouTube number. Like there's Angela Curry, right? Hello, Angela. Thanks for joining us all the way from Ohio. See, Angela Curry 8971. That number right there, that's not part of her handle. That is put on there by YouTube. I can't, people explained it to me, but I don't remember. So here we have the very first person is DF 58008. Does that feel like that's part of his name? It doesn't really matter. So we'll just say DF. So DF, right out of the freaking gate. It's one of these. Right. I mean, the very first person to put something in the chat gets cannonballed. That should tell you where I'm at. Randy Howell letting us know there's $31,606, 407 backers. The Barbarian Horde is growing. It needs to grow a lot more and quickly. We have 9 days left on this campaign, and I don't really understand the way of the Indiegogo. I'm the new Indiegogo. So will it go into demand? Does it close out for 2 weeks and randomly reopen? Do I just shut it down? These are confusing things that I have to answer in the next 9 days. So don't assume that it's going into demand. Get in there and back it in these final 9 days. And we'll get to that later. But thank you, Randy, for the numbers. Creative Faye is here. Corum says, I came for the anime reviews and stayed for the Bigfoot. Again, see, this whole anime thing, I got forced into doing it because Stealth, those of you who watch Graybeards know that Stealth was, during our contest, was the highest chat person with $502. And you could say, who's crazy enough to do $502? Well, Meteor Pegasus put in 500. What I did, though, is I rewarded them with free artwork to go with that money, because I felt like I hate it when people contribute that much through super chats and don't, go home with something. So I threw in some original artwork, so that kind of, I think made them feel a little bit better about the money they spent. But anyway, so Stealth got to pick the subject matter, and it picked freaking anime like Demon Slayer. I don't even know. But thankfully, at least until we do that again, where we do have the bidding war for picking the content of the show, I won't be drawing or talking about anime until someone makes me do it again. Pantheon's here. There's Angela Curry. We said hi earlier, but we'll say hi again. Bill Maxwell joining us. Eric and Boyd Creations is here. Now I want to know, Angela, I don't know, are you coming out for SummerCon this year? Because I'm going to be there, and if you show up, I'm expecting some sort of chocolate treat. I mean, it's just, you set the precedent, and now it's an expectation. So the pressure's on. Obviously, if you don't show up at the show, you don't have to bring me chocolate. I'll take it personal, but you don't have to bring me chocolate because you won't be coming to the show. But if you do come to the show, I'm expecting some sort of chocolate treat. There's Past Master Dan. Angela wants to know if the latest Bigfoot vids include Kelsey Shannon. I have no photographic evidence of Kelsey at this time, but we're hoping for something to turn up soon. Let's see. Helping boost Aaron's ego and bring relief to an old man. See, the freaking disrespect. I don't need Past Master Dan. As far as I know, you're as old as I am. So, let's see. There's Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is always here. And let's see. Everybody's talking to everybody else. That's great. There's Matthew Muma joining us. Corey Landis. He's demanding that I bring him Sasquatch. I will, but you'll have to wait. Or at least I'll bring you a facsimile of Bigfoot. You will decide whether it's really him or not. Let's see here. Marcus Killigrew, purveyor of all things pop culture knowledge, is joining us. Michelle Bowers has got her sword unsheathed and beware. Okay. Dream big, kid, she says. Well, I'm dreaming big. I dream of chocolates practically every night. Oh, she's probably talking about me being a top 100 is probably what she's saying, dream big. But I'm also dreaming about that chocolate. If Aaron passes out while live streaming, that could boost his channel. We saw that with Dale Keown, where he went over 1,000 back or what do you call it? Not 1,000 viewers, but 1,000 subs. Thank you, subscribers to his channel when he was passed out on a live stream. That was classic good fun. Yeah, so maybe I should just. Darren Wagner is very much supporting the shirt that I'm wearing today, which was a gift from. Oh, doggone it! Who is a gift from? When I see his name in here, I'll know. I don't know why I can't. My recall is so sucky. Marcus says, do a campaign on. I'm going to do one on. I'm not going to do one on Fund My Comic, at least right away, because I feel like Fund My Comic is essentially the same audience as Indiegogo. So I'm going to go over to Kickstarter probably and do something over there and see if I can hit an entirely different audience. And that may just be fool's gold. We shall see. Stealth X5, speaking of him, for $2. Thank you. Stealth says hello. I still haven't mailed out your artwork, but I'm getting there. Probably Tuesday. Hang with me, brother. There's Gary Bruce. He says, Mike Friedrich and Roy Thomas. I saw Roy Thomas I met Roy Thomas at a Texas show pre-COVID. And I want to say Stranko was there. We were all like eating barbecue or something. Was Stranko there? Maybe not. I conflate some of these shows now. It's just like I don't get that separation anymore like I used to. There's Pity Ma rolling in. Yeah, let's see what else we got there. There's Zaid Comics. That's Phil Diaz. Thanks for joining us, Phil. Creative Frey brings art and comics for me. That is true. She always does. And but Angela Curry, who garnered the nickname Chocolates Curry, brings me candy. Byron Smith says, I have not been to a con for at least a decade. Did you get your artwork, by the way? You must have by now. Yeah, let's see here. There's Henry Angeles. If you have too much to do, I can help you. I have some crayons. How hard can it be? Yeah. Darren Wagner, after those guys back Barbaric Adventures, consider also backing Demifoot, Urban Sasquatch on Fund My Comic. Maybe Aaron will believe in Demifoot's existence. I want to believe, just like Angela wants to believe, but you've got to make me believe with much better video evidence that I'm getting these days. Yeah, Past Master Dan, look at that. He's 65 tomorrow. So, dude, you're like 3 years older than me. So I don't think you should be casting age shade at me. And plus, the guy that I'm going to have on in a few minutes is like freaking Mike Barron's like in his 70s. It's freaking unbelievable. Who would have thought? Hey, there's Craig69. He goes, I'm not joining you. I'm not here. He always says that. And yet, let's see here. Pitty Mouse says, Aaron, what started your love for dinosaurs? Movies like The Land That Time Forgot, Journey to the Center of the Earth, a TV series like The Land of the Lost. God, that's an excellent question. I am sort of a weird mutant when it comes to stuff like that. I don't ever remember not being a fan of those things. My mom could never figure out, like when I was like kindergarten, I wanted to watch Frankenstein. I just thought it was cool. And so anything, I'm trying to think, it was the first thing that I saw with dinosaurs in it that I bought a dinosaur book, like Scholastic, like you used to get like these order sheets would come into your grade school and you could order books and they would get shipped to your class. And then, whoever you ordered, the teacher would give you the books. I was in second grade and I ordered a dinosaur book. So I was already into it, but I think that was the first dinosaur book I actually ever owned. It's called Dinosaur Ghosts. And it was by the Walt Disney artist. I still have it over my bookcase. Little paperback with some really nice black and white illustrations of dinosaurs. But I was a fan of that before that because I used to like design when I was really little, like grade school little, I guess, design dinosaur parks. So I must have seen like Sinbad Sinbad didn't have dinosaurs in it though. Well, one does. One of those Sinbad movies has kind of a dinosaur in it. Man, that's an excellent question. I remember seeing Valley of Gwangi with James Franciscus, like really young. I've always liked monsters, and I was always a reptile kid growing up. So I think it's a proclivity. Is that right? A proclivity to those types of things. I was just like born with it. It's bizarre, but yeah, there it is. I don't really have a good answer for you. In fact, that was probably a longer answer than anybody wanted. That's what makes me a top 100 YouTuber podcaster. There you go. Creative Face. He remembers. He goes, it was Jurassic Park and Land Before Time. See, I was way too old by the time those came out. I was already well along my way to Dinosaur Land. There was a show on when I was a kid. And again, I may have been older than I'm giving myself credit for, but there's something called Primal Man that was on. And even though I was raised in a Christian family and never believed in evolution and still don't, I used to love to watch that show because it was like, it would have these like cavemen and they were all made up to look like, ape men, cavemen type things. And so I was just totally into that. I just thought it was cool. Planet of the Apes was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. Anyway, Byron Smith says, Aaron's only top 100 alphabetically. Ouch. Ouch. That hurts. That hurts. Get you right where it hurts. Okay. And hope that got you, Brian, right where it hurts. All right. Let me run a promo. I haven't got to run this for a while. In fact, I think Phil Diaz was the last person here where I got to run this little promo. I see you there, Mike. Mike's hiding in the back room. He's like, hurry up. I got to go to bed. Let me see if I can find my, where's my freaking little intro? There it is. Please welcome my friend and yours, the legendary, still writing like a maniac. It's Mike Barron. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Aaron. I sent the link to Pat Broderick too.
Oh, okay.
So he might join us. If Pat does join us, we can't let him ramble on.
As I recall, it's like pulling teeth to get him to comment. So we'll let you. Oh, is he a rambler?
He used to own a rambler, and now he is a rambler.
Okay. Well, maybe maybe the first time I had him on, he was just kind of guarded a little bit, and I guess we got him talking though, didn't we? About stuff. So. All right. So you're pushing Star 2.
Yeah.
I have that here. Hang on a second. Let me bring that up. and we'll get into this a little bit. You have to forgive me. I have to push a couple buttons. There we go. So would it be a good idea for me to run this video that you probably paid good money for?
Oh, we love the video. We love the video. We're on Kickstarter too.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, this is Fund My Comic, but let's run the video.
We'll take anything we can get.
Yeah, well, I'm with you on that. I'll be doing that myself shortly. If you can't hear this, let me know, but you should be able to hear this. Here we go.
All right.
In the lawless, unforgiving Old West, one man tried to bury his past, only to discover that some nightmares never stay buried. Newly appointed Sheriff Harley Brogdon thought he'd left trouble behind, until ancient terrors from Native American legend clawed their way out of the cold earth. Bronze Star 2 is the thrilling continuation of the critically acclaimed Weird Western series by Eisner Award-winning writer Mike Barron and legendary artist Pat Broderick, co-creator of Creature Commandos. Return to Cobb's Gap, where every bullet fired is a deadly gamble, and every shadow may conceal an unimaginable horror. The legend rides again, deeper into darkness, into a series of hellish nightmares that will haunt you long after the final page. 2 chilling journeys into the heart of the Weird West await you in Bronze Star 2. Pre-order the pulse-pounding sequel now at fundmycomic.com.
Look at that.
Thank you, Aaron.
That looks great. Now, is it just me, or does the sheriff kind of look like Pat Broderick?
Does Pat stare in the mirror while he draws?
I don't know. Maybe he does. You might know better than I.
No, I don't think it does. It never occurred to me. But when you see Pat, you're going to say, well, he sure looks like a character out of his own book. I mean, he does have his Old West look now with the beard. And if he's wearing the hat, that's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to take the beard off, but you leave the mustache, and I think we've got something there. I think. All right. So, Mike, you got so many freaking projects. How do you juggle them all? How do you keep these straight?
When I shift from one to the other, my mind shifts too. I know exactly where I'm at. So it's not a problem. And a lot of these projects are done. They're just in development. And I mean, I wrote Bronze Star 2 a year ago. And by the way, I just finished the first draft of Bronze Star 3. And I got, I set out to write novels. So it took me 30 years to learn how to write a novel because I'm a slow learner. When I get it, I get it. And I have 4 novels out this year. I'm surprised at myself. And 2 of them are based on Bronze Star. It just happened by chance almost, because Bronze Star was Pat's idea in the sense I said, Pat, what do you want to draw? I said, I want to draw a supernatural Western. And that's right away, my mind starts clicking in overgear. And I came up with a tiny little town where it's remarkably peaceful after dark. And the reason is that the sheriff can't touch silver, so he wears a bronze star. But there's a lot more to it than that. As for novels, I develop an outline. In fact, I develop an outline for anything I write, including graphic novels and comics. It serves as a guide for me, but it has another purpose. I want to be able to hand that outline to somebody and have them read it. And I want them to put it down and say, holy shit, where do I get the book? That's the purpose of the outline. And that's important because it makes the story better. If you keep that in mind when you're writing your outline, the purpose of the outline is to both guide you and to excite interest in a reader.
Well, okay. We have somebody that looks very much like a cowboy and might be a character in this story himself. Please welcome back to the show, Mr. Pat Broderick. There he is. Look at that.
Hey Pat.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Did you do you use yourself as reference for anything in this comic?
No, but if you see an old coot in the background, yeah.
That's you.
Yeah. Like this.
Darren Wagner for $2 says Bronze Star looks like it's carved into wood. I think he means that as a compliment. It does have a really cool look.
Well, thank you.
So I had you guys on when you were getting ready to launch this, I think. And these books, when you guys do these books, they're like done before you go to your crowdfund, right?
That's right. And we try to finish every book before we launch the crowdfunder. And most of them are finished. I wish I could tell you what we have waiting in the wings. But the
Now,
boss.
you say we, you mean you and Pat are working on another project after
Well,
this?
no, I mean me and Chris Brawley, who runs my projects.
Yeah.
But I consult with him before I do anything.
But you have scripted Bronze Star 3 already.
Oh, yeah. This is the first Pat's heard about it. Yeah, I finished today, Pat.
Great. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm getting tired of doing blank covers.
Yeah.
Now, Pat, are you still hit the convention circuit pretty hard or no?
Well, I do, but like this year, I had to cancel out on this last one because my wife got really ill right before I was supposed to leave. So I've got the month of May open, which good time to get a script in. I usually try to do, or I had been trying to do about 10 shows a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm cutting back.
That's still a lot of traveling, though. That's what I did when I was young, was like 10 to 12 shows a year. Now it's like pulling teeth to get me at a show. But
yeah, it takes it out of me. I mean, it really does. I drove to Lincoln, Nebraska. No, Lexington, Kentucky. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And did the Lexington show there. First time I'd ever done it. It was a great show. It was a 2-day drive up comfortably, but I decided to drive it one day all the way back.
Oh.
I slept for like 2 days after that.
I've got my daughter's a dancer, and I have some of her friends here to watch her first performance was this weekend. And they're all, 24, college, just got out of college and stuff. And they were talking about road tripping. And I was like, yeah, I used to like to do that when I was 24, but we had to drive from Portland, Oregon to Phoenix and back to pick my daughter up when she graduated last year from college. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never driving this again.
I know that feeling.
So, I don't know how you do it, Pat, but congratulations to you, man.
Well, every year I always try to attend Heroes Con. Last year I couldn't because my car needed the AC had gone out. And the time of year Heroes, I'm not going to drive 16 hours in a car that the AC doesn't work. So I had to cancel on that. But I'm going to be there this year. I've always driven to Charlotte, and it's about the same distance as Lexington.
Well, so where are you at in
Tampa.
the country? Oh, you're in Tampa?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how long you been there?
Too long.
Because I was there during the cross-gen years, like, what was that, 2000 and early 2002?
Yeah.
We were there for about 3 years and then moved back out this way when cross-gen folded. But were you out there at that time, or have you moved there more recently?
No, I was out there at that time also.
I wish I'd known.
Had a short stint with the other guys on the other side of Hillsborough County, Future Comics.
I'll be at Heroes Con too. In fact, Pat and I are sitting next to each other.
Yeah, we are. That's great.
See, that's the thing. I love Heroes Con. It's like, to me, I may be wrong about this, but I think it's the last pure comic convention left in the country. And but that's a cross-country flight for me, or drive, which would even be worse. So I haven't gone there in
5
years.
days. If you have 5 days or 6 days, take a week to do it and have some fun, and don't try to do 600 miles a day.
No. I would look at a train trip. Maybe now that might be more affordable and comfortable.
I had never thought of that. That's an interesting concept. Yeah, take the train. How about that? Yeah. Let me grab this super chat, gentleman. It says Pity Ma for $20. She says, thank you very much for that, Pity Ma. Appreciate that. Here is some bribe money for Wednesday. I'll be in training during Graybirds, but I'll catch on the replay. Graybirds, best show ever. Loved the answer. Thank you very much for that. That's our drawing show on Wednesdays that I do. Okay, let's take a look at this campaign, gentlemen, and talk a little bit about it. Is that
That's
a poster? What is that?
Rags Morales. That's an alternate cover.
Okay, so that's Rags Morales. He came up in a conversation not too long ago, and I was like, what is that guy doing these days?
Oh, apparently I wish I could tell you.
Yeah.
You got a cover out of him, though, right? So he's doing that.
Yeah.
He did a beautiful cover. Beautiful cover.
Is this the actual mock-up for the cover?
I'm not sure if they're going to use that as an alternate cover. We might for a limited number, but Pat's cover will be the main cover.
Okay, but this is definitely a cover, or it's a poster.
This, I believe, is a poster, but I think it only exists digitally.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Well, I got to tell you, I know for a fact that Rags does not work digitally.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the serpent and the guys in the canoe, Mike.
Yep.
I'm confused. Yeah, Rags, beautiful cover, but right now I'm looking at the serpent. Hence my speech.
Well, then wait a minute. So this is all Rags, or is this a combo of you two guys?
That's all Rags.
It's all okay.
Yeah.
The serpent is all Rags. The serpent cover.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it? Is it a splash page, or is this another poster, or what is this here?
I think that's the basic cover.
Okay, that's
cover B, I think, Mike, or A. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's cover A.
What's throwing me is the way you've got the logo on there. So I'm like,
it'll be different.
Okay. So we've got some of the original art, or some of the art from the story here. Now, is this guy, you forgive me, I'm like foggy. Is this guy in the same town all the time, or does he move around?
He's in the same town.
Okay.
Cobb's Gap at the foot of the Canadian Rockies. The asshole end of the universe, as people call it. Whenever, and in the first issue, every time somebody shows up, they say, "What are you running from?"
Yeah.
Because there's no other reason to go there. There was silver in the mine for about 6 months, but then everybody was in the mine died under mysterious circumstances, and that's part of the story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So, okay, here we go. So here we've got, we got 3 covers by you, Pat? Or no, okay, there's 2 by you, then the Morales.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Do these get bigger?
Eventually. If
well,
if you want a larger image, I can bring one up.
Well, do you have one on the campaign page or no?
I think so. Let me take a look here. Yeah,
this would be a black and white variant, right? Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I can bring that Rags cover up first, and then I can bring up the Wendigo if I know what I'm doing here, which I doubt. But let's just.
Well, before you do that, give us a little background here on what can you give away from the story without ruining it, to kind of give us a.
Well, I don't think there's any secret that it involves the Wendigo.
I would think not at this point.
And I suppose at this point we have to admit it also involves a mythical creature of the Pacific Northwest called the Ogopogo, which you're looking at. It's an Indian legend that's endemic to all Northwest Indian tribes. I think Loch Ness Monster, only Native American.
Right.
But the 8-page story at the end is going to come as a complete surprise to everybody. And, we've told what that is too. But for those of you who want to be surprised, I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, well, don't ruin it, Mike. You want to, So is there you're saying there's an additional short story at the end of the main story on this book?
Yes, there always is.
Okay, yeah. So Pat, that's by you too.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mike has come up with a wonderful supporting cast. Okay, so
Now, when you came up with this monster here, um, what was your inspiration for your design?
the Indian folklore description of it.
Okay, so you went right to the source and kind of stayed true to it then.
Yeah, I in my thinking of how it became. I'm unclear, Mike. Okay, but I looked at him as a demonic spirit that the Indians conjure up.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got it. I just
Okay.
researched supernatural legends of the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, yeah. And so, and it's always an elk, right? And his heart has a heart of frozen ice and ravenously cannibalistic.
Yes.
Wow, that is a great real because you know I have seen like other drawings of these type of characters, and this is like I've never seen it like this. That's kind of why I was asking. You know, I haven't done any research into the old Indian legends, but that's really cool. Very visually interesting, different approach. Even though you're staying true to the original narrative, still like it's something I haven't seen before, and I think it's really cool. So we've got your stretch goals here, and you've got to be where are you at? Are you at 35 yet?
Oh yeah. In the two campaigns.
Oh, the two campaigns, right? So you got 32 here, and you're on Kickstarter right now too.
Yes.
Okay. So this looks like it's doing pretty well for you. So good for you guys. Let's see. What do we got here? What is this?
That's the combination platter. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's both 1 and 2 together in its own volume.
Okay. So is that paperback or hardcover?
It's paperback, but we're doing an oversized black and white hardcover as we did with the first one because
Okay.
you have to see Pat's work in black and white to really appreciate it. He draws every shingle on the roof, and he's showing the whole the whole town there. I mean, it's astonishing detail.
Yeah.
Well, it's an establishing shot there, Mike. You know, I only want to have to draw something like that once. You know.
Once per page.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now this is great. So this is the new cover for the collection of the 2 issues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the artist edition here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's so nice.
And just below it is an original he did on the frontispiece inside the front cover. And he only offered 3 of those. I think they're all done. They're all taken by now.
Yeah, they are.
Look
Yeah,
at
they are.
that.
I had an interesting experience with that, Aaron. I was at the the Comic Art Cafe show in Orlando
Mm-hmm.
last year, and I had brought three of them. No, I'm sorry. I brought 2 of them that I'd previously done with me, and I asked very, very generous price for it. You know,
Mhm.
and the people were fighting over it. You know, because I'd only brought 2, and I explained it. You know, like there's only 100 of those books printed, right, Mike?
Mhm.
You know, so it makes it extremely collectible.
So did you think afterwards? Did you go, maybe I should have charged more? Fighting over it.
Yeah. Well, it was like, you know, bid. Go ahead and make a bid and work it out. You know,
Mhm.
but I had already promised the one couple because they had made the first inquiry about it.
Right.
So the other couple behind them said, "But I want that one." And it's like, you know, they were in front of you. What can I do?
Exactly. Well, it's nice to feel in demand, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so you have your treasury collection. That has everything. All 3 soft cover variants, the oversized artist edition, digital editions, and an autographed bookplate signed by Mike and Pat, plus your name honored inside the book alongside fellow Treasury backers. Okay. And then we got the Outlaws Vault, the ultimate Bronze Star Collector's Vault with everything from Treasury collection along with the volume, soft cover, and the rare Volume 1 Artist Edition hardcover. So that's basically everything from both campaigns, right? Or at least the big items. Am I understanding that correctly? Is this the first artist edition you did, or is it the second?
Second.
In this campaign.
This is the second, yeah. The first one's sold out. I do not know how many of those are around, Mike.
I have one.
So that's what this is, this Outlaws Vault, because does that include, it says Volume 1 of the Artist Edition is included in this. Is that right?
Yeah, Volume 1 of the Artist. I don't know.
It's a mystery. we need a third person here now.
Yeah, now Chris is looking at us and shaking his head.
He's shaking his head going, oh my gosh. What did I
And
put
they're
these guys on?
going,
Well, we're going to assume that if he's offering one, Chris knows he must have one sitting there, right?
yeah. Well, how many of those are available? The Treasury collection on that side. I'm sorry.
Let me ask Chris.
Yes, we have the Outlaws, the Bronze Star Outlaws Vault, and then the Treasury collection. So you've got.
Oh, get out of here.
Well, the Treasury collection, according to this, only includes the hardcover from Volume 2, but the Outlaws Vault says you get Volume 1 softcover and the rare Volume 1 Artist Edition hardcover. Limited only 8 backers. There you go. So he must have 8 copies of that.
Yeah, he must have sought that away. He's holding out on us.
Okay, there you go. See, I'm glad you guys are able to come on here and learn something about your campaign. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, to help educate you. Okay, so let's see, what do we got here? All right.
There it is, yeah.
Okay, so here we go.
That's Pat's greatest Wendigo.
So obviously that's your big splash page reveal of the creature.
Yeah.
Very cool. Look at that. All the colors and everything. That's just really turned out well. Nice work.
It worked out in the animatic too that Chris put together.
Oh yeah.
He features on that. Yeah.
Yeah, in the video, in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So I want everybody to know, we'll get more into this here in a second, but I want everybody to know that there is a link in the description of this video that'll take you right to this campaign, and you can back right there. So follow that link and back this project. How much time do we have left on this?
2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks.
Okay. So not much time.
20 days to go. Almost 3 weeks.
Okay. Pat, I got to ask you, man, because I'm doing a mini series for Alien Books, a Zorro mini series, kind of on the side here with my other projects, and I'm on a schedule now. You guys probably have a looser schedule since you're doing these books before you're putting them out, but I'm like, do you ever get to a point where you're just like, the panel work is just too much of a grind. I don't want to do it anymore. Obviously, you're not there yet, but.
No, with me, I love the sequential stuff.
Okay.
I truly love it. If I get to the point where, like, God, I've been on this for a year and I'm almost done,
Mm-hmm.
I feel that, yeah, but it's like I want to get it done because of the work that has to be done later that we're going through now, Mike,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you're not one of those guys that's saying, I'm going to retire when I hit such and such an age. You're just going to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, put it this way: if they can keep me alive with machines, and they can put a pencil in my hand,
you're going to keep going. All right, I love that.
Yeah.
Because I've got friends, I got other artists who are like, oh God, I just want to retire, and I'm like, I can't even conceptualize that. First of all, I don't have the money to retire, but secondly, it's like, if I'm not drawing for a project, I'm drawing on napkins, or I'm drawing, you know what I mean? Drawing to entertain myself. So you might as well just keep going forward with it.
Yeah. Look, I went out and picked up, I think it was like 10 copies of the Firestorm blanks. you know, and I've just been doodling with those all week, you know. So I'm always drawing something, Aaron, and you're just like me then. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm, if I don't draw, I do take time off now, but sometimes it's like I'll have to take more than a day off. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
just got to get away from it for a couple of
Yep.
days.
Yep. Yep.
Writers never retire.
Well, as long as you got ideas and you got something you want to express, why would you?
Yeah, not only that, but I think my writing's getting better, and I'm having my most productive year ever this year. I'm going to have 4 novels out this year.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that, Mike. Do you have, or is this stuff you're self-publishing? Do you have somebody lined up to publish these?
Oh,
for
no,
you?
I don't self-publish. We did a couple books early on. That was over a decade ago, but I have publishers now. I'm working for 3 publishers: Wolfpack, Dusty Saddles, and Wargate.
And so who's you said you novelized 2 Bronze Star
Yes.
books. So who's going to publish those, and when do you think those are going to be out?
Dusty Saddles, the first one will be out in August.
Okay. So do they even do like bookstore stuff anymore? Is this all online ordering?
I don't know, because I go and we have a Barnes and Noble here, and none of the books I've written are in here because the last one was written that was published was with Wolfpack, was
Mhm.
several years ago. You want to know about how many? Here's Chris just messaged me that there are 3 variations of the soft cover. We know which one of those: 2 pat covers and 1 rags cover. New artist editions, same specs. A hardcover collected legacy edition, full color, volumes 1 and 2, 100 copies. A hardcover oversized artist compendium collecting both black and white artist editions, never before seen.
There you are.
Process and back matter, limited to 100 copies.
There you go. So okay, one more question about the novelizations here. So do they still do like the old paperback sized books, or
No.
are these larger format now?
Everything in paperback these days is larger format. Here's one that just came out about a couple months ago. I hope that says tenure to you. To me, it's
Yes, it does. It does. Okay, so that's a standard size now for
Yeah.
the
This is
paperback.
it. This is your standard paperback size now.
Well, I'll tell you, for people our age, it's a lot easier to read, I'll bet, than they.
Well, no, the words are just as tiny,
Oh, are they?
but that's not a problem for me. I mean, I had my eyes lasered, and now I see better than I have in about
Yeah.
30 years.
I'm afraid if I got my eyes lasered, they'd screw it up, and then I'd be blind. And I'd be like,
That's funny, Aaron, because I went in and the doctor said, "Okay, just put your chin here, hold it a minute," and I did that, and for a minute, and he said, "Okay," and I said, "Well, when are you going to operate?" And he said, "I just did."
So they just go in and basically reshape your cornea, right, or whatever. That's like, it's because it's bent and out of whack, and that's why you can't see. And then they just reshape it so that's the way it's supposed to be, and then you can see again, right?
I assume that he uses a computer to tell him exactly what to do, because you don't want to screw up somebody's eyesight.
Well, you're the guinea pig, Mike, so apparently it works. So I guess Pat and I
yeah, I'm like the 4 millionth guinea pig, because they've been doing it a long time.
Move forward with no concerns.
I got to get some cataract surgery done, taken care of.
That's got to be easier now than it was 30 or 40 years ago, I'll bet.
So I addressed Paul's concerns in that Cobb's Gap is a fictional village that is nowhere near Calgary. It's further northwest.
Okay. So, yeah, he says, "Hey, Mike, I live in Calgary, which is right beside the Canadian Rockies. The city is over 1 million people. So I wouldn't describe it as you did." Okay, I see.
In fact, I research everything I do, and I looked up the population of Calgary in 1883, and it was 2,000.
Okay. Well, there you go, Paul. Thank you for the $10, but Mike just beat you down, and I love to see that. So,
Yeah, Paul, we appreciate your enthusiasm, and I would love to visit Calgary someday.
Paul is our resident biologist, so he's actually very helpful when we look at Bigfoot videos. But
Good.
thank you for that, Paul. Appreciate
Funny
it.
you should mention that, but we can't talk about that.
I was going to say, you guys are about due for a Bigfoot issue, aren't you, of Bronze Star, I would think.
Oh,
Especially if you're
well,
in the-
no, there's two stories in Bronze Star 2. And the first one deals with the Wendigo and the Indians. He's always dicing with the Cree Indians there. They have an uneasy relationship. And the Cree come to town and say, the Wendigo is back and we can't kill it. We've tried it over and over again. Only the white man can kill it. And Harley says, it's not my problem. It's not. And the Cree say, we're going to make it your problem. They find a way to lure the Wendigo into the town. And that's how Harley ends up going after the Wendigo. The
So
second
he's
one,
forced into a confrontation, basically.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And the second one, Alan Quatermain shows up because he heard about the Wendigo and he wants to grab one of these cryptids' heads for his wall. For those who don't know, Alan Quatermain is a famous Victorian fictional character who starred in King Solomon's Mines, among other books.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love finding contemporaneous Victorian characters to bring into the story. I always check them out to see if they were able to do that. I don't want to say anything about our special guests at the 8-page Lagniappe, but I researched him very carefully too and found out, yes, indeed, he was available to visit Cobb's Gap that year. They all are. Anybody who appears in Cobb's Gap, if it's a real character or a fictional character, I researched them to find out if it's practical, plausible, doable.
These guys are all public domain then, I assume, at this point, right? These characters.
I hope so. Well, I mean, you've seen the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He's in there.
Yeah.
So I guess.
And we'll find out.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pat.
I was just saying, we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, that public domain thing always scares me because there's always seems to be someone that's hanging on to the trademark or copyright that,
Aaron, when that happens and somebody raises a stink, you splash it all over the internet and say they're suing us for this, that, or the other thing. And it will increase the interest in your project 100-fold.
That's true.
I know that from experience.
Yeah, I know you. Like you monetize the hate, baby. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But okay, so does this book go? No, it hasn't. Does it go to press when the campaign ends? It hasn't already gone to press, right?
It may have.
Mike, why do I even have you on the show? I'm going to get your other guy on here who can answer these questions. I'm asking you.
You want me to send him the link?
You didn't set me up for any of this.
No, I won't.
Normally, so basically, this book is going to ship almost immediately when this campaign's over. Is that correct?
Well,
It's going to ship very soon. I can't say immediately.
it will be. The shipping will begin, yes, when the campaign's over. How long that may take adds up to the
right, of course.
Yeah. So
yeah, shipping's a pain in the butt and it gets stretched out, but it's a lot of times these campaigns end, right? And like for me and in my past and stuff, you're working on it for 8-9 months after the campaign's over with. And so people then wait and then you start shipping. So it's really nice when you guys are doing this in reverse where you've got the project finished and then people can back it and they don't have to sit around and wait for 6 or 8 months. The book's going to ship very soon after.
100% fulfillment rate.
I would have loved to have started the third one. I mean, it's been 5 months on my comic now, right? So this would be, well, I think that's what it says on the board. But it's a long time.
Yeah.
So
Pat, is the only thing you're working on in terms of public stuff that's getting published is Bronze Star stuff, or do you have other stuff going on in between?
It's Bronze Star stuff right now. Period.
Okay,
I'm going on 73, so I figured I got a little bit of time left, and I'd rather spend it doing something that I really like doing.
Right. Well, so you have built-in breaks from your schedule. It's not a terrible grind. You get through the one issue, then you've got a couple months off, and you can go do shows or whatever, in between, start the next one. That's okay. That's actually a pretty decent setup. But Mike, you on the other hand, you finish a job and then you're freaking right on to the next one.
Well, I'm always working on 4 or 5 projects at once.
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier before Pat came on, but I've talked about it with you before as well, that juggling those different, when you have multiple scripts going or multiple, like you said, you're not writing like a couple novels at the same time, are you? Don't you finish a novel, then go to the next one?
Oh, I am writing 2 novels simultaneously.
I'm trying to figure out how your brain works, because I'm like,
well, look at it this way: if biker dialogue shows up in the Western, Mike needs to go to bed. Okay? Right?
But I mean, I get the idea that you got a couple ideas in your head at the same time, but you don't just like take some notes for one and say, okay, I'm going to finish this first and then move on to this one. You just.
Well, no, because the tenure novels I'm co-writing with Blaine Pardo, and we write that like a tennis match. I write 4 chapters and say, back to you, Blaine, whack. And he writes 4 chapters and sends it back to me, and I get right on him. But we already have a detailed outline at the outset, so we know where we're going. The other novel I'm working on is called Lord of the High Country, which is a big, sprawling historical novel that I think Dusty Saddles is going to go for. I suspect they're going to ask me for a 3rd Bronze Star novel first, and I'm prepared to do that because I already have not just a detailed outline, I have a script for it. So I know exactly where it's going. But right now, I'm excited about Bronze Star 2. This is the greatest work of Pat's career, and I'm pretty pleased with it, too. I used to have doubts about a lot of the books I wrote. In fact, some of the books I wrote back in the 90s, I wish I could claw back because they weren't getting my best effort for a variety of reasons. But for the past 15 years, I haven't let anything out of the house that hasn't been a home run.
Well, when you're doing a comic book script, you go into it knowing, generally speaking, I mean, we're self-publishing, so we can move some pages around. If you can say, okay, I'm going to do this as 64 pages. And if it needs to be 66, no, you can just do that. And, no one stops you. But you generally go in with a template of how long the story is going to be, right? When you're writing a novel, do you do the same thing? Go, okay, it's got to be 400 pages or it's got to be 1,000,000 words or whatever it is. Or do you just write until you're done and then that's how long it is?
Well, sometimes a Western, most Westerns are short. I shoot for 65 to 70,000 words for a Western.
Okay.
My novel Seer, which Wargate is publishing later this year, is over 90,000 words. But that was because the story just took hold of me. And I couldn't break away. I just had to write it out as I saw it. The Lord of the High Country, I'm writing the first book now. It's very detailed. It has a lot to do with history. I'm researching everything. But at the same time, I don't want it to sound scholarly or dull. It has to be alive.
Sure.
It has to grab the reader so that he cares what happens next. And I think I've done that because the personalities I've created, the characters come to life. And every writer knows this, that when you create a credible character, a 3-dimensional person, at some point, he, she, or it is going to turn around and tell you what they're going to do next.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Pat, when you get the script from Mike, I assume it's a finished script, right?
Yes.
Now, are you like one of those guys that just sticks to the script, or do you sit there and go, you know what, Mike, I want to add something here, or this doesn't work, or this needs 2 pages instead of 1, or something like that?
Have you been looking over Pat's shoulder?
I know how it is to be, an artist, and I do that to myself when I write. Then I start drawing. I'm like, holy crap, what was I thinking? This needs to be this much longer, whatever. So I'm assuming, Pat, that you're taking some liberties with Mike's script, is why you're laughing.
I call it, I get lost in the eddies, and then I got to get back to the mainstream.
Pat is the only artist I know where I will give him 5 panels a page and he'll turn it into 9.
Yeah. It's the flow is the important thing, and I like doing wide angle shots, you know.
Hmm.
I like doing a lot of environments. I feel like, especially for this Western, the environment's the co-star, you know, it's
Hmm.
very important. Um, so sometimes I may not finish the page where Mike has finished the page. And so I have to see how I can work it in into the next page, but not destroy the pacing Mike has set up in that next page.
Right, right,
So
right.
sometimes, I mean, I do draw myself into a box, Mike. Okay.
And
And,
you can see it in
and
the comic. It's on page 17. Is a picture of Pat in a box.
yeah,
Do you ever consider? I don't know, Mike. I don't think we've ever worked together. I can't remember if we
I
did it.
would love to work with you
I don't think
anytime.
we have. So I haven't actually seen one of your scripts, although I should read that thing you wrote
yeah,
for.
Mike, like you need one more book to work on, but go ahead.
Um, so y- have you considered like just like throwing a plot to Pat and letting him go, or do you
It's
you just
not
don't
how I
like it?
write. I think that's a big mistake for writers. Uh, an artist needs the lines because the artist is the actor. And you don't tell the actor, say, Brad, just go out and ad lib it. You know, just say
Yeah,
whatever you want to say. Here's the seed. No, you got to think about this stuff and refine it. Uh, and the more you refine it, the more it should sound natural. The
Sure.
only
yeah,
dialogue that works in a comic or a movie or a novel is dialogue that sounds the way real people talk. And that doesn't mean you can't take liberties because sometimes you have a wild character. I just watched Blue Moon, which is the story of uh, Lorenz Hart, who was Richard Rogers' partner for many years, Rogers and Hart.
Hmm.
And the whole script was so elegant and witty that I thought normal people could never keep up with this. But you're so fascinated and entertained by this script that you don't care. And I recommend
yeah,
that movie, by the way. It's called Blue Moon.
Okay. No, I get you. I mean, there's a lot of times where you want to keep the dialogue natural and flowing, but at times you bring in that line that, yeah, okay, no one, maybe someone probably wouldn't say it like this, but it really has nice dramatic impact here, and I'm going to throw it in for that particular reason. Um, so
Mike,
do
you
you
wrote. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead?
You wrote the Flash and worked with Butch Guice, right,
Yeah.
on the Flash,
Mhm.
and those were all full scripts, right?
Yes, absolutely. And for 25 years, I wrote comics by drawing each page out by hand, panel by panel,
Yeah,
person by person, spaceships, architecture, big
yeah,
scenes. I would include all the dialogue right there in a word balloon and the captions. And outside the margin of the page I drew, which was on legal paper, I'd add any directions that I needed to, but it had taught me so many things. One of the most important things it taught me is how much weight a page can bear. And by that, I mean how many pictures, how many words.
Mhm.
yeah,
No, that's a talent in and of itself with comic book writers, and when you find good ones that understand how much information to put on a page and how
yeah.
much is too much.
I've worked with very heavy writers, uh, like both Doug Munch, who wrote full
Yep.
scripts for everything. So that was
Mhm.
all of my Captain Marvel stuff. And
Yeah.
then all of his work with me at DC Comics was the same thing. The only writer that I've ever worked with actually that worked Marvel methods
Right.
would have been Bill Mantler, you know, where it was he would toss out the ideas and then would allow me to put it together. Now, Jerry Conway worked that way for both companies, but I became so familiar with the character that Jerry did allow me to play with it, you know, and
Hmm.
we would discuss plots over the phone. I would take notes. Now that's as loose as it gets, right?
Right.
So, but you know, and I had a
Excuse-
good grasp of the character. It worked out well.
Yeah.
But I do prefer everything that Mike puts in and everything that Doug put in and the late Peter Gillis put in, because they were full script.
Well, there's a part of drawing a book where, you can, you get a tight script, you can feel a little bit hemmed in, but at the same time, you don't have to overly think it, as an artist and you're trying to meet a deadline. I did some stuff for DC where they had a new line of characters. I think it lasted about a year, which it always does, right? And so they were trying to do it. They wanted to do it more Marvel method, and so I was getting scripts that were by Venditti. I can't think of his first name. But anyway, really good stuff. But he would write the dialogue scenes, right? And if it was a fight scene, he'd go, okay, fight scene starts here, goes 4 pages, and has to end up with this happening, right?
Yeah.
And so then I got to just diagram the entire fight scene,
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun. But at the same time, you're sitting there, okay, now I actually have to think about, planning this out. What can I do that's interesting looking? And it's not just a typical fight scene.
Yeah.
And I've had obviously plenty of scripts where I have the fight scenes described to me by the writer, and they're just dull as anything, but sometimes you're in that deadline crunch and you just draw what you've got. But it's always nice, I think, when you can kind of get that mix of allowing the artist to contribute what they're good at, but also respecting the script that the writer gave you.
May I show you something?
Yeah.
All right, it's on the screen there. It's from a badger.
Oops. Hang on a second here. I have to get rid of this for StreamYard is not as smooth as it used to be. There we go.
All right, now this is fight choreography. First of all, notice that they're not having a long conversation. Secondly, see how each move leads into the next, how it's logical and it looks real, and those are real techniques.
So did you describe this in your script specifically? This is how you wanted this fight scene?
Yeah, I probably drew it out. So
you and Giffen used to do that too, didn't he?
I don't know.
I thought Giffen used to do
he did. Yes, he did. That was one of the maddening things about working with Keith for me, because he wanted Ragman to be the 9-panel grids every page.
Oh man,
it was very constrained, Mike. I like doing wide shots and stuff. I like being able.
I know you do.
Did they not give you any? I mean, because my understanding, and I never worked with Keith. I mean, I knew him a little bit, but I never worked with him. And my understanding was that he would, and maybe this is later in his career, I don't know, but would do these kind of like his road maps, but you could like gerrymander the layout a little bit, or was he like totally, it's got to be 9-panel type thing?
Had to be 9 panels.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It was brutal towards the 8th issue.
I can imagine that, because I know that Alan Moore does that sometimes too, or at least I've never worked with Alan, but I've seen, like the Killing Joke and Watchmen and stuff like that, and you're just like, I couldn't draw the book if I had to, if it had to be these 9-panel grids all the time. I mean, you can use it effectively once in a while, I think, draw a moment out or something, but I'd hate to be strapped into that for a long time.
The thing is now, my deadline is when it's done. Okay?
Which is nice.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I spend like up to 3 days on a page now. Whereas back when I was working for Marvel and DC, it was 3 pages a day.
Yeah, I know. It's just the opposite.
Demand, right? Yeah. So I don't know how old you are, but
62.
Oh, you're getting close. Yeah, that Social Security check helps. It does.
Yeah, you got to be careful, right? Then how much you do, so you don't go over your limit or whatever. So,
yeah, but you can prepare for it. I mean, I don't have the money yet, so I have no idea how much I'm going to make off this project.
Right.
It's looking good. It's looking very good. I'm very happy with where we're at.
Yep. No,
And
you guys, this is doing really well, because I keep looking at this one campaign and think, well, 32,000, that's pretty good. And then you got Kickstarter on top of that. Have you opened this up on? Did you do this on Indiegogo too, Mike? Or
No,
just,
that's up to Chris whether we're
Okay.
going to do that. But we are looking at other crowdfunding platforms.
so you do? So you've run it? Is it still open on Kickstarter right now?
It is open on Kickstarter. It will be for 20 more days.
Okay.
Fund My Comic, you can do it indefinitely, but Kickstarter and Indiegogo have rules about that sort of thing.
Right. Right.
We would have started earlier, but we had to fulfill the Nexus Omnibus, and that was delayed because, first of all, they were printed in Turkey, and they had to go through the Straits of Hormuz. No, they didn't really, but they did run into rough weather. And then when
At least they didn't get blown up.
yeah, when they got to the fulfillment center in Chicago, they were hit by this massive blizzard.
Oh my God.
That'd be funny if they had video, if here's the ship carrying the Nexus Omnibus, and here's the strike, boom, the big black cloud.
Pages flying everywhere. I don't know. I mean, it is a more expensive to print in the United States. I get that, but every project I've done, I've printed in the States just because I didn't want to deal with, across the world shipping and anything that could happen in between, and delays and things like that. So,
incidentally, Print Ninja has a factory in the United States now, and it's in.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, it's in Illinois.
Wow, how about that?
Good.
That's where. What was that old printer that all the Marvel books used to go through in Illinois?
Sparta.
What was
Sparta,
it?
It was Sparta, Illinois. Yeah.
Yeah, Sparta. That's right. That's right. Sparta Printing. I remember when I was 18, I called them up because I wanted to quote. I was thinking about self-publishing or something, and I remember asking him a quote. The guy was really nice for an 18-year-old kid calling and bugging him. But yeah, that's what I think. Didn't DC and Marvel both use Sparta? Weren't they like kind of the monopoly for comic book printing?
Yeah. They both use the same printing company for probably 50 years of that.
Wow.
And possibly Charlton too. No, they had their own printing presses. That's what made Charlton successful.
Did you ever work for Charlton, Pat?
No, I didn't. But now that you brought up, about overseas printing, Mike, we may have to rethink this in another year or so.
Well, I don't know. There might be new opportunities then. I see where Philbo has opened up a printing press.
Everybody's trying to move here.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of guys were getting their stuff printed in China, but then you'd either have to pay an exorbitant amount of money to get it air flown, so you get it in a few days, or you'd have to put it on the literal slow boat from China and wait months for it to show up, which neither one is ideal. So anyway, let's take a look at this campaign again here, and I'm going to go ahead and run this. I'm going to run this trailer one more time. So let's do that.
In the lawless, unforgiving Old West, one man tried to bury his past.
You guys can hear that, right?
Discover that some nightmares never stay buried. Newly appointed Sheriff Harley Brogdon thought he'd left trouble behind until ancient terrors from Native American legend clawed their way out of the cold earth. Bronze Star 2 is the thrilling continuation of the critically acclaimed Weird Western series by Eisner Award-winning writer Mike Baron and legendary artist Pat Broderick, co-creator of Creature Commandos. Return to Cobb's Gap, where every bullet fired is a deadly gamble, and every shadow may conceal an unimaginable horror. The legend rides again, deeper into darkness, into a series of hellish nightmares that will haunt you long after the final page. 2 chilling journeys into the heart of the Weird West await you in Bronze Star 2. Pre-order the pulse-pounding sequel now at fundmycomic.com.
All right. So, Pat, it's really got, we were kind of alluded to this earlier, but it's got to be satisfying to be able to have the time you want to make this look the way you want it to look without Mike Baron looking over your shoulder saying, "Hey, I need this next week,"
That is nice. I'm at the end of my game, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
So the projects that I choose to do are, I'm not going to do any spandex characters again. Okay, just
That
not
was
doing them. I mean I get enough of that at commission requests and at the convention. So to draw something, the scope of Bronze Star and the type of look that I wanted to bring to a Western is a result of all the spaghetti Westerns and everything that I always loved.
mm-hmm.
So I want to have that feel to it, which is why I try to do like wide, long shots.
Yeah.
Um, but there's only like one panel that I in there that I think I could have gotten a little clearer, but it happened so quickly.
There's always a page or a panel someplace, right? No matter how much time you have, you get it, you look at it and go, gosh, I should have changed that or done it differently.
Well, it was questionable because I only did one page with no background out of the entire story, but it centered on the two-person conversation sitting at a table. So, what better time to drop the background?
Yeah.
But I worried about that, Mike. So many times I was thinking I ought to go back there and at least add a background to one or two of those families.
No. The contrast adds to the visual appeal when you do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it did later on with the Ogopogo. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, every once in a while, I always catch myself using those empty panels to break stuff up just from, to give it a different feel. And like you said, you're having a solemn conversation piece that might be, especially when everything else you've been doing is very detailed and things that is nice to kind of quiet it down and break it up for a minute.
But I'm also like getting to know the location. The bar is about the main stage for most of the stories, right, Mike?
It's an important site. There's a lot of business conducted there.
Yeah, yeah. So I have to remember what's hanging over the front goddamn door. Excuse me.
Don't forget there's a beaver on the front of the bar. There's a beaver pelt.
Yeah, beaver pelt that's on the bar, the moose head that's hanging over the door,
Yeah.
But for consistency's sake, it works for me. I mean, now I know that bar, okay? And I know how that building it works. I know the stairwells, I know the layout of the upper room. So it works.
Yeah, it's funny when you have to like pull your own reference to remember what goes in, some of these locations that you've designed, but it takes a while, like you said, before it burns itself into your brain and you're like pulling pages from back issues going, okay, how did I draw that bar again? What was in there? And
oh yeah, the beaver pelt. Okay, but that's everybody's going to want to see that beaver pelt on the front of that bar. That's why I put it there.
So, we take the beaver pelt off and Dortmunder comes around the front of the bar and says, "Who took beaver pelt?"
Yeah, that would be great.
And that's the story, searching for the beaver pelt thief.
Oh my goodness. All right, so let's go through this real quick again here. So you've got a poster and a cover by Rags Morales, the mysterious Rags Morales, who we were just wondering where he was at, and here he is. You've got the cover by Pat here, and there's a couple more. We'll see those later in the campaign. Some of the original art give you an idea of what the atmosphere looks like and what you can expect with Pat Broderick really bringing it to this project.
I love that landscape right there with Harley's house and the barn.
Well, it graphically speaks to what you're talking about, these wide, panoramic shots that we see in, the John Ford and Western or something like that, so you really, really hits home. That's really nice. Okay. Here are the three covers, two by Pat, first A and B. And then you've got the cover C by Rags. And This looks like this is a black and white variant cover, right? So we got that's limited to 300, it looks like. Some more interior artwork. Some great stuff there. Your stretch goals. So do you know, Mike, off the top of your head, where you're at total wise for both campaigns or both platforms?
You mean the amount we've raised so far?
Yeah, so you're probably at 40,000, right? Collectively.
$54,410. But
okay, so you've hit all these stretch goals.
Yeah.
And even this one, the live experience. Backers at every level will get access to a live reading with the creators. So are you guys going to do a live dramatic reading of this book?
Well, we're going to get Sam Elliott to do it.
Oh, okay. AI Sam Elliott.
He's the guy that narrates the video.
Yeah, I noticed that. So that's great. So you've hit all your stretch goals. That's fantastic. You've got to collect 2 volumes, both volumes collected in one volume here with this new cover by Pat. That looks great. That border on there is fantastic as well. Really contributes to that sort of, I don't know, not ancient, but more, I don't know if rustic's the word I'm looking for, but
we have Chris to thank for that. He put that together himself, Chris Bailey.
Okay, so you drew the art there, and he put the border together for it. Yeah. That's a really nice looking, good combination there. You guys worked well on that. And here's your Artist Compendium Legacy Edition. This is volume 2, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And this is all the black and white. Is this full size, like 11 by 17, or is it?
Yes, it's big. I don't know if it's 11 by 17, but it's about this size.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Yeah, it's, well, pretty good size, whatever it is. And now you've sold out of these, right? Doing the sketches on the inside of the book?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Now, if someone brought you at a convention, since you do some conventions, Pat, someone brings you a book, they order the book, they bring the book, would you draw on the inside of it, for like a commission type thing? Or do you say, no, I'm only doing these couple here and that's it?
I'm limiting them. So if they bring it to me, if they want, I would treat it like a remark.
Right. Gotcha.
If they want a headshot, I'd do a headshot of Harley. Do it.
Okay.
But not the completed scenes.
Right. Gotcha. Then you've got the Bronze Star Treasury Collection, which is you get everything Volume 2 has to offer in one spectacular package. All 3 soft cover covers. That's variants A, B, and C. Oversized Artist Edition, Volume 2. The digital editions and an autographed book plate signed by Mike, and Pat. And plus your name inside the book as well for backing. That's pretty awesome. And then we have, this a little controversial earlier in the show, but we got it figured out. The Outlaws Vault, which actually there's 8 of these available. Each one includes the artist edition, the first volume 1 from the first issue of Bronze Star. There's 8 copies of that left, so you have 8 available through this Outlaws Vault. That's another reward you can get on this. And so there you go, guys. This looks terrific, and it looks like another successful campaign for you guys on this. And this has got about 2 weeks left on Fund My Comic, and would you say about 21 days left on Kickstarter? 20 days left on Kickstarter. So you guys will find a link in the description of this video that will take you right to this campaign so you can back it. And I suggest doing it. You're looking at the legendary Pat Broderick doing some of the best work of his career right here on this project. And of course, Mike Barron, the legend himself, started off with Nexus back in the old days, and is
back in the day.
Just keeps on pumping out great material. So there you go, guys. Well, I'll cut you guys loose, and thank you for joining me. I know, look at Mike. He's ready for bed already, I'll bet. So
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, sure you are.
Thanks, Aaron.
Don't say anything about that, because my bedtime's in a half hour. So
okay, so there we go.
He's on the East Coast.
Yeah,
we got to get Pat to bed.
Well, I get up at 4. So.
Oh my gosh! See, that's what happens. The older you get, and you're like an old cowboy, right? So it's just like you go to bed early and you get up at 4 a.m.
It's the truth. Look, I knocked out a blank cover by 10:30 this morning. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. It was like,
I'm just up and running by about 10:30.
yeah. No, I've been up and running a 4 hours, 6 hours. No, let me see. 4, 10, yeah, 4 hours by that time.
Has it got humid yet in Florida, or is it just starting to get there?
It's always humid in Florida.
Well, it's usually pretty nice in the wintertime. As I remember it, I was in Tampa for 3 years, and I remember like in the wintertime, it wasn't too bad.
How long did the winter last while you were here?
A couple months, right?
Oh, really? I mean, yeah, we would have like maybe 3 weeks of really cold weather.
Well, I'm just talking about no humidity.
Ah,
or less humidity. I mean, there's always humidity, like you said, but there's a couple of months, isn't there, where it's kind of the humidity is pretty light.
I always thought my favorite season is like September through November.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're back. So by now, here we are, almost May. It's heating up again, I would assume, right?
Yeah, very. I mean, you see this oak tree behind me. I saved that tree, and now our house here that we rent is the only property on this block that has grass growing in the front yard because it's so damn hot. We haven't had any rain, so this tree keeps us cool. If this wasn't here, I wouldn't be able to sit out here. Just wouldn't be able to sit.
Well, see, you're a wise man. So there you go. All right, guys. Again, thank you for joining me. It's great to have you on again. And next time, Mike and Pat, you guys want to push your project, just let me know and we'll do it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See you guys. Thank you. All right. There you go, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen in the chat. That was a nice visit with the great Mike Barron and the great Pat Broderick. Those guys, man, still churning out great material. And so check out Bronze Star 2, excuse me. Again, links in the description of this video, and it'll take you right there. So let's get on with the rest of this show. Let's see how much I can cram in the next hour or so. Where are we at? I didn't miss anybody's super chat, did I? Okay, good. All right. I love talking to guys that have actually been around longer than I have, because generally their stories are even better than mine. So Marcus Killigrew being very positive, saying, "Oh, great, now we're stuck with Aaron." All right, there you go, Marcus. You're stuck with that. How's that? Okay, so let's get organized here for a second. I did not make my show list, because whenever you have your guests on, you just never know. It might just blow up the entire show. And once you're done interviewing and talking, the show's over. But we're going to keep going today for a little bit here. And let's do this. We'll get back on track. I'll feel better about myself and a little bit more confident of where we're at and organized. And so we'll start with... All right, that's right. Let's take a look at this week's expensive comic of the week. So we're going to look at here is an old heritage auction that isn't the price isn't updated, but the book is pretty significant. So we're going to take a look at this, and then we'll go collect and see how much that baby's going for right now. There we go. Now look at this. Look at this. From the collection of Nicolas Cage, folks, a 9.4. This is the highest graded copy of Detective Comics 38 out there. I would think at a 9.4 it must be, because this was, what year was this? Where's the year at? Come on, baby. 1940. So kind of old. And first appearance of Robin, of course. Now, those of you who know your history would know that Robin, you can even tell by the lettering here, the sensational character find of 1940, Robin, the Boy Wonder. Robin was, of course, based on Robin Hood, or at least the name and sort of the concept, I guess. That's where they got Robin from, was Robin Hood. And where he got the little green shorts, I don't know. And they need to send him back and put some pants on this kid. But of course, this sort of ushered in the whole concept. I don't think there was a teen sidekick prior to Robin the Boy Wonder. So I think he was the first. Maybe somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but we had this whole fad through the 40s of, excuse me, oh, drinking water will do that to you. They had this whole fad in the 40s of these teen sidekicks. And most of them didn't. I want to do a whole segment on teen sidekicks, that most of them don't make sense, but that's on topic for another day. Because the idea was that they wanted to make give the kids something to identify with, right? So, the kid superhero. So I could be Batman's partner. I could be this, I could be that. I don't necessarily know if that's a great marketing strategy. I don't know if it's even needed, because the young boys, you're going to fantasize, dream about being Batman, even if he doesn't have a sidekick, So I don't know that I would, as a, maybe a 9 or 10-year-old kid picking up a comic going, oh, I want to be Robin. No, you still want to be Batman. So I don't know if the psychology behind this was actually sound or not. I mean, I get the idea of what they were thinking, of why they would do this, but I don't really know if it was necessary. And what it did give us was a bunch of annoying teen sidekicks. But again, I digress. We're getting off topic. So this killer book, 9.4, you're not going to find a higher graded book than this, and a copy of this book. Sold in 2005, which is now, 21 years ago, sold for $126,000. Someone in 2010 offered this person $145,000 for it. And of course, he didn't take it. I mean, on something like this, a book this significant, and this, when it's the highest graded known copy, you can pretty much demand your price. And I mean, now, granted, it's not going to get up into the millions or anything like that, but you can, it's kind of like, dude, if you want this book, you're going to pay what I'm asking for, because you can't find another copy that's this nice. You can't. It doesn't exist. So you have that kind of, that leverage working for you. Let's take a look and see what Go Collect has to say about all this. Because this, obviously, like I said, 21 years ago, that's not exactly an updated price on what this, and I don't know that this particular issue has sold. I don't think it has since then. So here we go. Let's take a look here. So there's the 9.4 right there. So it sold in 2009 for $107,000. That doesn't sound right. Hang on a second here. Okay. So here's all of our sales. So 2009, it sold for 107. Why don't they have that? Now I'm confused. Let's take a look at this again. This sold for, you know what I bet? I bet they're subtracting the buyer's premium from this price. I'll bet that's because that was 2005, right? And this is saying 2009, it only sold for 107. They have to be subtracting the buyer's premium, because if they're not, someone really got hosed on that deal. So here we go. Well, no, they're not. Look at this. So 2005, someone paid $126,000 for this book. And this was from the Nick Cage collection, right? But then 4 years later, it dropped to $107,000 on Heritage again. So that's crazy. They lost 20 grand on that book. That hurts. This is a weird anomaly here for that to drop like that. Because if you look at it here, in 2002, it sold for $120,000. And then 2005, it sold for $126,000. And then inexplicably, 4 years later, it sells for $107,000. So that was just bad timing for whoever sold that and took a bath on it. Right now, if we go back and take a look at Oops. I didn't want to do that. Let's take a look at this. This thing's killing me. It's not doing what I want it to do. Forgive me for a second here. That was 32, right? Or 38. Shoot, what number was that? I can't even remember now. 38. Okay, duh. All right. So we're going to have to take a look at some of the other grades to kind of get an idea of where the price on this 9.4 would be right now. Okay, so we have recent sales. Here we go. An 8.0 sold for 130. Okay, and what date was that? So that was recently. So that was just like a year ago. The 8.0 sold for 130 grand. So you got to think that 9.4 has got to be up around close to $500,000, maybe 400,000. But we just don't have a sale on it. And as you can see here, the 9.4, there's only one of those. 9.2, there is no 9.2, at least a graded one. 190, 085, 6 8.0s. And so you got 6 copies of the 8.0 floating around for 130,000. This 9.4 seriously has got to be at least 350,000 to 400,000. It's got to be at least in that ballpark. So I feel bad for the guy that paid 126 and sold it for 107, but I guess just desperate times, right? Things don't work out. You got to be careful. But anyway, so there you go. That is, folks, our expensive comic of the week, Detective 38, the first appearance of the boy wonder, Robin, which I have no love lost for Robin, admittedly. So you'd never catch me dead buying this book, even if I had the money, but it is a significant book. And so there you go. JG Martinez says that is an absorbent. He means abhorrent amount of money for one comic that can be used for a down payment on a new home. That's the thing, though. But if you're spending that much money on a comic, my guess is you've got plenty of money for your down payment. You've got to be just either like a lone wolf, no family, you just kind of get what you want, keep yourself happy, or you've got so much freaking money that spending $150,000 or $400,000 on a comic book is, who cares, right? Those are like billionaire guys that, like Elon Musk, right? He's like, I'd really like to have a copy, the highest graded copy of Action Comics #1 hanging in my office. And then he just goes out and buys it for $9 million, $10 million, and then writes it off. So, that's one way of looking at it. That's one way I will never look at it because I'll never have that kind of money. But there you go. So there you go. Okay, that's our expensive comic of the week. I'm looking at my why do people keep texting me? Everybody knows. Look at Billy Tucci is now texting me. He must know I'm doing this show. He must. I don't know. Billy. Anyway, let's take a look. Let's go back to 1935 and take a look at the Oscars. I have all these groovy intros. They're not really groovy, but I keep telling myself that. All right, so what happened in 1935? Well, that's what I'm here to answer. We will start with the Best Picture winner of 1935. It was Mutiny on the Bounty with Charles Laughton and Clark Gable. Look at that, Charles Laughton getting first billing. Because Charles Laughton had already won Academy Award for Best Actor for Henry VIII, if you remember. And then Clark Gable won it the previous year, 1934, for It Happened One Night. But they're still giving Charles Laughton the primary name spot there, which is pretty amazing. I would have thought Clark would have got in there. But Clark Gable doesn't even have his mustache yet. So maybe Clark Gable wasn't quite Clark Gable at that point. So now this is interesting. The ceremony took place March 5th, 1936 in the Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles. So that's been there for a couple of years now. The host was Frank Capra, who was serving as the Academy president at that time. This was interesting because it says here that had there been a movie camera on hand, it might have panned the 8th annual banquet to find a sea of regular folk done up in their Sunday best. And there in a small sprinkling of famous faces would be Betty Davis, perversely attired like an executive secretary in a plain print dress. Where was everybody? Well, with the recent formation of the Directors Guilds, its members had joined with the Actors and the Writers Guild to boycott the Academy Awards. Crazy. It was in protest of the Academy's unwillingness to intercede on behalf of union demands. So nobody went. And they got the studio heads got like their secretaries and the people that weren't union to show up and fill the place. But there was nobody there except Betty Davis and a few other high-profile people that were expecting a win, all right? So, Betty Davis, if you remember last week, everybody thought she should have won for Of Human Bondage, and she didn't even get nominated. And so she was really pissed, okay? So she shows up this year. There's old Betty right there. Now I don't know, man. That's a young Betty Davis, and it's still not doing much for me. So I don't know. No offense, Betty. Claudette Colbert famously said about Betty Davis. Now remember, Claudette Colbert last year in 1934 won Best Actress for It Happened One Night when everybody was expecting Betty Davis to win, who didn't even get nominated. But then they thought a write-in ballot was coming in that would put her over the top, and it didn't. So anyway, Claudette Colbert said, "The casting couch, there's only one of us who's ever made it to stardom without it, and that was Betty Davis." So how about that? Was that because no one wanted to sleep with her, or because she was just, she wouldn't have anything of it to do with it? This is interesting here. So the cinematographer for A Midsummer's Night's Dream, Hal Moore, was sitting by his radio drinking a beer when he got the call that he'd won. He leaped into his tux, grabbed his wife, and made it to the Biltmore in time to see Betty Davis win Best Actress Oscar. This one was a consolation prize, and she knew it. She felt she'd been robbed, as we spoke about last year, for the Of Human Bondage, and wasn't pleased at all. She put on her happiest face, but the presenter, D.W. Griffith, a great reader of faces, seemed to sense her dissatisfaction. And he said, "You don't know how lucky you are, young lady, at your age to be where you are, making all that money, fame, and everything." Davis nodded obligingly. Never one to trust good luck or to win a gold pin for gratitude, Davis walked out on Warner Brothers the very next day. How about that? So anyway, Betty Davis gets the win for Dangerous, and apparently probably didn't deserve it, but she deserved it. And look at, so we're like, what are we, 6 years into the Academy Awards now, and they're already screwing up who should have got it, and then giving out Oscars the next year to the person that should have won it the previous year because they screwed it up. And then we see this throughout the history of the Academy Awards. Very rarely, I shouldn't say very rarely, but there's a good chance that they're going to give it to the wrong person. every year. And we saw this early already, this kind of thing going on. Now, so it's interesting that the other two, well, I'm sorry, they've got 5 nominees for actress here. They have 3 nominees for actor. What a ripoff. I'm sorry, 4, and then 5 for actress. So Elizabeth Bergner, never heard of her. Escape Me, never heard of it. Claudette Colbert, who won the previous year, was nominated again. Betty Davis, of course, nominated and won for Dangerous. Katharine Hepburn gets a nomination for Alice Adams. Miriam Hopkins, who you may remember as the prostitute from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the version with Frederick March, she gets nominated. And I didn't know she'd ever been nominated. Gets nominated for a movie called Becky Sharp. And then Merle Oberon in The Dark Angel. So, there's some heavyweight hitters in there with Katharine Hepburn, Miriam Hopkins, Merle Oberon, Claudette Colbert, Betty Davis, and Betty Davis takes the win. Interestingly enough, Best Picture, there's a ton. Man, they had a ton. Alice Adams, Broadway Melody, Captain Blood, David Copperfield, The Informer, Les Miserables, Lives of a Bengal Lancer, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Mutiny on the Bounty, which was the big winner, Naughty Marietta, and then The Struggles of Red Gap, and Top Hat, which I believe is Fred Astaire movie. But so anyway, they nominated like crap ton of movies, but Mutiny on the Bounty wins it. John Ford won Best Director, and for The Informant, not Frank Lloyd for Mutiny on the Bounty, which is very strange. I always hated when they did that. How can you have the Best Picture but not have the Best Director? That's just, to me, it's like, oh, we want to make everybody happy. Screw that. Give the award to the person who deserves it. But anyway, I'm not saying that that John Ford didn't deserve it, but come on, man, is it the Best Picture? Then it's got to have the Best Director. I've never understood that. And then your Best Actor award. Now, this is kind of funny. Well, actually, it's not funny that he won, but it's funny that the story that goes along with it. Victor McLaughlin won, and he beat out Clark Gable for Mutiny on the Bounty, Charles Laughton for Mutiny on the Bounty, Francois Tone for Mutiny on the Bounty. And then, so you had 4 nominees for Best Actor. 3 of them were for Mutiny on the Bounty, and that's the only time in Academy Award history that you've had 3 Best Actor nominees from the same movie. But Victor McLaughlin squeezes in there and wins it. So how about that? Movies that didn't get nominated this year: The 39 Steps by Alfred Hitchcock. And then, of course, Hitchcock didn't get nominated for Best Director. So, you can say what you want about that. Betty Davis's, here's a few, what we call the Hollywood Babylon, right? So Betty Davis's first screen test in 1929 sent studio boss Samuel Goldwyn into fits. He said, "Who did this to me? She's a dog," he ranted. Davis herself ran out of the projection room screening, so she must not have been too happy with it either. But man, can you imagine saying that right there in front of the actress? Here we go. This is kind of the saucy story that's good. Betty Davis insisted that she was the one who first dubbed the Academy Award Oscar in honor of her first husband, Harmon Oscar Nelson. Their marriage was a disaster. She thought he might be gay and carried on affairs with Howard Hughes and the great love of her life, director William Wyler. So I had no idea if this is true or not. I don't know. I didn't know that Howard Hughes was had the proclivity to go after other guys, but who knows? It was Hollywood and it was decadent, and who knows? And William Wyler, I didn't know if he was gay or not, but apparently, according to Betty Davis, he was, and Betty Davis apparently was in love with William Wyler. So, wow. How about this? Oscar Nelson. Okay, that was Harmon Oscar Nelson, that was Betty Davis's first husband, tried to blackmail Howard Hughes with the tape recordings of his sexual liaisons with Betty Davis. Wow. You want to talk about complicated? So according to Betty Davis, I'm sorry. I misread this. Betty Davis thought that her husband might be gay, so she carried on affairs. Okay, I thought her husband was doing this. I'm sorry. I'm making the rumor mill even worse. So she thought her husband might be gay, so she carried on affairs with Howard Hughes and the great love of her life, William Wyler. Okay, so Nelson tried to blackmail Howard Hughes with tape recordings of his sexual liaisons with Davis. How did he get those recordings? That's what I want to know. There's a great quote from Barbara Stanwyck. Betty Davis is an egotistical little bitch. That's Barbara Stanwyck. There you go. MGM was the first studio to campaign with ads in the press for Oscar consideration. How about that? So there you go. That's 1934. I'm sorry for that little screw up on the Hollywood Babylon. So it was actually Betty Davis who had affairs with Howard Hughes and William Wyler, not her husband. But who she thought was gay anyway. Who knows who he was having affairs with? Hollywood. See, it's no worse today than it ever was. We just know about it. I enjoy a good Hollywood story, though. I got to tell you. Dale, you're right. Hitchcock never won. He got an honorary award in the 70s, I believe it was. And I think he went up there and took the award and said, thank you, and then left and didn't say anything. I believe that's how it went, but I think eventually we'll get there. Yeah, look at that. 91 years ago at the Oscars. Yeah. How about that? This is interesting. Best line in Mutiny on the Bounty. Sir, I need some water. I need some water, sir. The salt. It's worked in. Wait a minute. The salt. It's worked in. Cruel Captain Bligh. Replay water. You say, do you want some water? Keyhaul this man. Okay, so then Captain Bligh replied, do you say you want some water? Keyhaul this man. It's funny, if you look at the this version, Captain Bligh is just like a raging lunatic and is really the bad guy. If you look at the more modern version with Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins is a tough commander, but he is kind of sympathetically portrayed as a good commander. And I think that's more close to really what happened. And so that's an interesting movie. I liked it, the Mel Gibson version. But it's a more sympathetic portrayal of Captain Bligh, where the other ones with Brando and who was it that played Captain Bligh, where they're, Fletcher Christian's this hero and Captain Bligh is this evil guy that, they had to mutineer against. So anyway, there you go. That's what's going on 91 years ago in Oscar. Let's take a little Barbaric Adventures break, shall we? And I have to admit, I'm a little bit all over the place here because I did not put my my show notes together. Oh, look at this. We got the number of the beast right there. That can't last. $31,666, 407 backers. So what this means is we're over 400 backers now. So everybody that backs up until Wednesday, will be included in the next original art raffle. So if you're not backing yet, get in there so you can be part of the art raffle. So we do an art raffle every time we hit double zeros with backers. So 400, we did one at 300. We're doing one at 400. Let's get to 500, and then we'll have another raffle. So you can get in on the raffle if you get in and back before Wednesday, before Graybeard Studio. that, or even during the show, just as long as it's before we actually do the raffle. Okay, so that's fantastic. But what am I pitching? Well, I'll tell you what I'm pitching. It's Barbaric Adventures #1. And I'll tell you this, it is the most anticipated comic magazine of 2026. I don't care what anybody else says. That's the story I'm going with. 64 pages, square-bound magazine format. That's 8.5 by 11, black and white, but with tonal rendering. So it's a really nice art book, but it has some really terrific stories in it. You'll see the premiere of my brand new title, Primal Zone, the story of a reluctant hero. That's kind of not really true, but he is a hero, and he's cast into an interdimensional world of dinosaurs and cavemen. David Williams is going to introduce us to the story of a young medieval knight who battles a horde of demons in his quest to become a true warrior. Finally, Dan Lawless takes us to a futuristic Mars where high-tech society has fallen into savage chaos, and one man leads a rebellion to defeat the corrupt powers that have seized control. Gary Martin contributes our inside front cover art, which was always like a big deal in Savage Tales magazine back in the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s before they canceled it. You'd always want to get to be the pinup artist on the inside front cover. I actually did one. Oh, I forgot. I did a Solomon Kane piece. It never got used, though, probably because it wasn't good enough. But I did do a Solomon Kane piece that was supposed to be used as one of those inside front covers. It ended up being inventory and it never got used. But anyway, there you go. So I almost got it. Almost. Anyway, so let's take a look at the 4 cover options you guys have. You have Barbaric Adventures cover A. That is by me. That is an acrylic painting on a canvas featuring my characters, Carson Taylor, Celia the Cave Girl, and this really pissed off red T-Rex. It's more of an Edgar Rice Burroughs type story. If you're into that kind of stuff, you like the little, the barbaric adventure, but you also like a little bit of, I don't know, heroic adventure that goes beyond just sword and sorcery. Have a little bit of tech, not a ton, but a little bit. This is your story. Here's David's cover painting for his story. This is fantastic. I love this. Great use of negative space there. Here is Dan Lawless's with his revised red version. So when I say red version, there isn't a blue version and a red version. This is it. It changed. We didn't like the blue version. We thought, go with red. He went with red. This is what the cover will print as. And it is now reflected in all of the reward options. So this, and we just think it has just way more impact for his Mars Madness story. So there you go. That's Dan Lawless's cover. And of course, the great Joe Jusko contributed a Freya the Ice Princess Yeti Slayer cover. And she gets her own little preview story in this book as well by me, because it's my character. So it only makes sense. So those are your 4 cover options. If you look over to the right, you'll see we have a 4-pack plus here. That's all 4 covers plus the 8.5 by 11, 32-page sketchbook, barbaric sketchbook. It's just full of barbaric art by me, and it's signed by me. That would cost you $120 if you bought everything separately. If you buy it all together in this 4-pack, it's $105. So that's a savings of $15. If you're wondering, Aaron, my gosh, what black and white, like Paul Taylor's price, and they're going, come on, Aaron, black and white. This is what it looks like with the ink wash on it. And you can see it has way more depth. It is a colored version, but just using grays. And it looks very, very cool. So this page right here, I should put the new page on there, but because it has a sky and a little bit more in the background, it's a little bit juiced up in a few spots. But that gives you the general idea of the page. And then, of course, this, which I've been touting as perhaps the best comic page I've ever drawn. Here it is. This just gives you an idea of what the artwork is going to look like in this story. And I got more, but I can't show you because it's a 24-page story. And so 3 pages is all you get until you actually get the book. You also get the original 8-page Primal Zone story that I did back in 1995. And you can kind of see how it evolved and changed. This is a couple pages from Dan Lawless's story, Mars Madness. He has more pages too, but I ain't showing those either. But really great stuff by Dan. We don't have any finished artwork from David yet because he's got like doing layouts and things, and but we will get very shortly. I will have a page or two up from David on here. One of the other good deals on this campaign is the Big Barbaric box. And the thing that's so interesting about that is not only do you get everything that's on the campaign is included in the box, but you also get 2 items that are not, you can't get as add-ons or anywhere else. This 4-print portfolio in an illustrated envelope by me, signed by me, and this cover, right? And I'm working on the cover. It's right behind me. We'll take a look at that in a second. This is the color rough for it. And I've already made some adjustments to it, and we'll take a look at those in a minute. But this cover is exclusive to the Big Barbaric box. You can't get it anywhere else. And we haven't hit any of our stretch goals yet, which is somewhat surprising to me, unfortunately. But we get to 40,000 at least, we'll get the Primal Zone trading card. If we were to get to 60,000, we'd get the Eon Chance trading card. Although I've already done an Eon Chance trading card, so I'm going to change this. But we have to get there first, folks. So here is the 8.5 by 11 Barbaric Adventures sketchbook signed by me, full of my barbaric art. And those of you who have been watching AD 2026, which is David and I do a YouTube show where we just kind of draw and chat. And all the barbaric, all the Primal Zone pieces I've done on that show, there's like 4 or 5. They're all going to be in this sketchbook, along with, there's some Conan pieces, some Frazetta type character pieces in there. So it's going to be really, really cool. And Gary Martin says, hey, this cover actually looks professional. So there you go. You can get this print called Snow Hunt featuring our Yeti Slayer Freya. And that comes signed by me. That's 8.5 by 11 as well. So everything in this campaign is 8.5 by 11. So it all like fits together. You can get the Barbaric Adventures shot glass. This is 5 out of a 6 series of 6. And we have original art for sale. This piece is already sold. This piece is not. This page is available. This page is available. My cover painting, which is 18 by 24, is available. I will put up some more. I've got some more artwork I'm going to put up. I just haven't got around to it. In fact, I will show you shortly. But first, here's your rewards. The Indiegogo layout is simply, you just scroll vertically. Everything is vertically. It's just stacked on top of each other. So you just keep scrolling down, and you can order these different rewards. Used to be called perks. I keep wanting to say perks. You can get the cover A by itself. This is cover D. These are all messed up. These cover D, cover B, and then cover C, Dan's red cover. If you just want a single cover. You can order a couple, you can order 3, you can order all 4 in the 4-pack plus. Here is one of the combo orders you can make is Barbaric Adventures #1 with my cover and the signed sketchbook. My cover with a signed sketchbook and the print signed Snow Hunt print. These are $5 off the regular price. If you bought everything separately, if you bought them together, you save $5. Here's the Big Barbaric box. All 4 covers, the shot glass, the 5th cover that's only available in this box, the Snow Hunt print, the sketchbook, and the 4-print portfolio with the illustrated envelope, which is only available in the Big Barbaric box. This is a $210 value. You're getting it for $185. That is $25 savings. That's a great deal. Keep scrolling, and here's some of the original artwork that was on the campaign that's already sold. You see all these are sold because they're gray. The ones that are purple are still available. Just a few there. And then add-ons. You can add everything in the campaign on. You can do like a buffet style and put together an order any way you want. And you can also get back issues. These are available on my website, but if you want to get everything together in this campaign, you can do that. And you can get Saved by the Trash, my classic sketchbook. You can get Wraith of God 1, 2, and 3, Kit Carter graphic novel, Garbage Man, trade paperback, Power Cube, trade paperback, each cover individually, and then also the Kit Carter sketchbook, which is a perfect match, I must say, for the Barbaric Adventures sketchbook. Same size and everything, same binding. So you will find a link in the description of this video that will take you right to this campaign. I would encourage you to back this. If you haven't done so already, if you have, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate your support. But this book is going to come and go pretty quickly. And you do not want to be the guy who's sitting there going, dang it, I should have ordered that. So make sure you get out there and order that book. At least one cover. Even if you can't, go big and get like multiple covers or whatever, get at least one cover, because this is going to be a really, really cool book. And I admit it plays into my nostalgia from the 70s, but these are really good stories. And I'm telling you, the artwork is top notch on these. So better than anything you're going to see from Marvel or DC or anybody else right now. So this is a killer project, and it's a bucket list project for me. And that's why I'm doing it. And I just hope we can convince more people to get behind this thing, because it is really, really cool. All righty, there you go. That was your paid advertisement for today. And I appreciate you guys sitting through that, because I know a lot of you have seen the campaign before. You're well aware of it. And but we got to still promote, folks. That's part of the deal. Okay, so let's take a look at this cover. Now, interesting about this. You see this white surrounding our hero, Carson Taylor? I had the figure on there. I had it, I had the sepia tone underpainting on it. Like you see the Pteranodon and the cavemen there. And this guy in the background, who's that guy with the crown? Well, I guess you'll have to read the story to find out. Anyway, I didn't like his figure. So I redrew it and painted over the old one, and then put this back on there, put a new one on there. And I'm not even 100% sure she's going to stay the same. I may rework her as well. I don't know. I'm committed to excellence. I want this to feel right. And so if I got to change stuff, gosh darn it, I'm changing it. So anyway, that's on the board right now. Okay. Now, I'm going to say that was part of the Barbaric Adventures presentation. Okay. So that's the painting I'm working on right now. But I'm going to run this little intro. I'm going to show you some more barbaric art, but I think it fits more into this category. Doggone it, there it is. All right, so I'm going to throw this out to you guys, get a little, see what you guys think, get an opinion if I can. There's going to be an extra cover that's going to be used for the Kickstarter campaign, which I keep threatening to do, but I'm probably going to have to do that. I don't really want to do two campaigns on the same book, but I understand there's people over there that don't pay any attention to Indiegogo and, are just waiting for something like this. So I have to have a different cover for the Kickstarter campaign to add on to it. So I've got a couple options. Now I'm going to do a Celia cover, which is the Cave Girl cover. She's just going to be the sole focus of the cover. And so I did this sketch, this marker sketch, if you will, on one of our episodes of AD 2026. Okay. So I like the pose. It's kind of Raquel Welch from 1 million years BC. I threw this T-Rex in there. I don't like it. It's gone. So don't pay attention to the T-Rex. So imagine, if you will, this pose or something similar to this pose with this big sun or moon, maybe up here higher with some Pteranodon silhouettes, smaller ones flying in the background. Okay. That's the cover image. Or, okay, so everybody see this. This is number one. Okay, this is cover option number one. Remember, get rid of the T-Rex, move the moon up, put a few flying pterosaurs back here, and you got it. Okay, so that's number one. Now, this is number two. So this is kind of a crouching pose, right? And so you got the moon behind her again. It's going to be the same motif, and there's going to be some pterosaurs up here flying around, or pteranodons, whatever the heck you want to call them, up here. And that's going to be your cover image. So This is cover number 2, option number 2. All right. Now, I'm not finished with it, obviously. I'm still in its pencil stage. But do we like this pose? This is number 2. Or doggone this thing. Or do we like this pose, which is number 1? So I don't have them scanned, so I can't do them side by side, but there you go. So her standing like that with the spear is option 1. This with her crouching and kind of looking back is option 2. Do we have a preference? 1 or 2? I'll run this again on Graybeards, but I'm kind of curious what. I got a lot of 1s. I got a couple of 2s. Gary Martin says 1. Brian Suddenly Old says 1. Aaron makes it so it's 3, baby. T-Rexes. It will. Aaron, make it so it's 3 baby T-Rexes and they'll sell like hotcakes. Everybody seems to be going number 1. There was a couple number 2s, but everybody seems to be going with number 1. I will have this one inked and markered so we can do a side-by-side comparison. So it's apples to apples. Everybody's going. Thank you, Night Elf DK. Appreciate that. Everybody's going number 1, thinking that's the better option. All right. So I'm going to let you guys sway me here. Everybody says number 1, but I will finish number 2 here, and we'll show these on screen side by side on Wednesday, and you guys can then revalidate your opinion. So 1 seems to be the hands down winner from the people in the chat at this point. So good enough, and you will find both of these pieces will make their way onto the campaign page by the middle of this week. So, and I will, of course, and we'll announce that, because generally when I put these type of pieces that are in that $300 to $400 range, they're gone immediately when I post them. So I always let you guys know before they go up so that you're ready. Henry Angeles says more T-Rex, less babes, but that's only me. Well, if you look at here's the thing, the trick, excuse me a second, the trick to, in my opinion, doing multiple covers is they've got to be very, very different from each other to get people to say, hey, I want more than 1. If they're very similar, then you just kind of pick your favorite, and that's good. So this is really pretty much a T-Rex centric cover, right? We have our heroes in there, but you see Celia from behind, and you get a profile of Carson Taylor, but it's really the T-Rex is sort of the star of this, right? So then, and of course, the other covers feature the other stories, but this one is Carson Taylor centric, right? So it has our different characters. It has a dinosaur on there. We have our chick down here. We have a few cavemen, but it's Carson Taylor centric. So it only makes sense that if I do another cover, that it's going to be Celia centric. And so that's kind of what I'm going with. But of course, on the Kickstarter campaign, all the covers will be, well, this won't be available. This will still be only available in the Big Barbaric box, but all the 4 covers plus the new one will be up, and you get those individually if you want. And if you don't like it, you don't have to, but I need a new item on that Kickstarter campaign to make it separate from the Indiegogo campaign. So there you go. Hidden Hand Media says, less babe. Are you nuts? Everybody keeps going, do the babe cover, man. Do the babe cover. So Randy Hell says, we already have a great butt shot of the cave girl. Hence why should we, I think, pick cover number 1 for the frontal view? I don't know if that makes sense, Randy. I mean, maybe it makes sense to you, but having a a shot behind the one of the figures and then having the front view of the figure, it seems to me like they're two totally different things. Same character, but two totally different things. So I don't know. Entity for $2. If option 2 is darker, it will sell the image better. If option 2 is dark, well, I'm not finished with it. It's just a pencil drawing at this point. So like I said, tune in to Graybeards on Wednesday and it'll be markered up and you'll be able to see kind of apples to apples. I can't afford to pay anybody else for the cover. Joe Jusko got all my money, and then David and Dan got paid for their covers as well. So they ain't no more money in the cover budget. So that's why you're getting another one from me. But there you go. Yeah. So it's like, I can afford what I can afford. You guys just, I give and I give and it's never enough. You just want more. Pat's a good dude though. I like having him on. So anyway, there we go. All right. So again, it's kind of a teaser to get you guys to show up for Graybeards on Wednesday. Not only will we be raffling off original artwork, Dan is going to actually draw the piece that you will win. Will be of his character and whose name has been changed, and I'm not sure what he changed it to, so I'm not even going to make a joke about it. So he will be drawing his character. That piece that he does on Graybeards will be raffled off at the end of the show to one lucky backer for free. You don't have to pay for it. You just get it. And I'm going to sneeze. Woo! Excuse me. I guess I should have muted myself, but I didn't. So there you go. And then we'll present the two cover options again, and you can, if opinions have changed at that point when you have two finished. Can I say finished sketches? Does that even make sense? But they'll be both at the same level of finish. So there you go. All righty. What have we got left to do today? Oh, I know what we've got. We've got this. It's not Lee Weeks. Lee Weeks was last week. I forgot to change. Why didn't I put? Oh, I did the thing and I forgot to download it. All right. Well, whatever. It's Stuart Immonen is what we're doing. Who's we're doing this week? Okay? It's not Lee Weeks. We did him last week. Stuart Immonen. Forgive me, Stuart, for not giving you your own placard there and screwing that up. But it's a chaotic day. Like I said, my daughter had her huge performance this weekend. We got a house full of young people, and I can't call them kids anymore because they're adults, but they're young, much younger than me, and running around here. So a little chaotic. The bean pad says from Balzac to Taint Flab. Oh my goodness, there come the names. Oh yeah, is there going to be more Hollywood hags? I think there is, but he's doing the guys this week. So yeah, this should be a good episode, you guys. So don't miss Graybeards this week. 2:00 Pacific time on Wednesday. Okay. What did I do? Oh, we're doing Stuart Immonen covers. Stuart. Now, I'll be honest with you. I chose this cover only because it has Baron Blood on it. But the one thing that's great about Stuart is, and I don't know Stuart personally, so I'm acting like I do by calling him Stuart, but it's easier to say Stuart than Immonen. So, it's Immonen. Oh my gosh, I missed. Oh, I got to correct. I got editing to do. I did Immonen instead of Immonen. Stuart. Sorry, Stuart. Baron Blood. Are you freaking kidding me? And why wouldn't I love this? And the great thing about it is Stuart's figure work is phenomenal. And that's really what sort of makes his covers. This is a nice design and everything, right? And it's coming at you. And I'm not a big fan of the new Captain America. I never thought Sam Wilson as Captain America made any sense to me. It still doesn't. I'd prefer that he just stayed the Falcon. And if you're going to, well, I mean, why get rid of Steve Rogers? There's no point. It's not like Steve Rogers is, I mean, he is, but he has that, like, he was brought back to life young. So he's really not any older than Sam Wilson. So this whole idea that Captain America is too old doesn't, and then you're replacing him with someone that is essentially the same age, doesn't make any sense. Thank you. Sam Wilson is the Falcon, and that's a great character. Just freaking leave. It just drives me nuts. Just leave it alone. Why? We don't need a new Captain America. So anyway, but I still love this cover. So there you go. And, it's Baron Blood. So what are you going to do? And for as much as I hate the new Captain America, we do have a few covers on here because they're still really well drawn. This one is, I can't call it iconic because it's featuring Sam Wilson as Captain America, so therefore it'll never be iconic. But for this run on this character, this is pretty iconic cover as it goes. I remember seeing that going, dang, that's nice. He almost made me want to buy the book. Almost. And I think Stuart did the insides too. So he was doing these great covers, but he also did the insides. You're like, God, this looks so great. But I didn't buy it because it was Sam Wilson as Captain America. I'm like, I didn't care. If it was Captain America, been all over it. Yeah, the Captain America design, the design of his costumes actually is good. I don't have a problem with that either. I just have the whole concept. I just don't like this. Although we did have in the 60s and into the early 70s, there was a period of time where Ant-Man became the Wasp. Well, he was Giant Man. He was Ant-Man. Then he became Giant Man. Then he became Yellow Jacket. And when Hank Pym became Yellow Jacket, Hawkeye got the growth serum and became Goliath. So, I mean, they have done that a little bit in the past, but, Hawkeye no one cares about Hawkeye anyway. I mean, let's be honest. I don't understand why this isn't what this segment's about anyway, but I don't understand why another superhero would take up the mantle of somebody else. You're already a superhero. You're the Falcon. So why do you need to become Captain America? I don't like it. Sorry, but I love this cover. And while I'm ranting and raving about that, I'm going to do it one more time. Now, this is really nice because it's so dramatic, right? Look at the lighting on this. And even look at the background. Is that like some sort of monkey or something back there? He has a little bit of Kevin Nolan shading technique with that crosshatch and stuff in there. Like we all do. We all love Kevin. This is fantastic, though. It's absolutely fantastic cover. Again, single character, super dramatic. Heavy blacks to create volume and just a really cool lighting effect. All right, enough of the new Captain America. Now you guys are going to say, Aaron, what are you freaking talking about with this one? I mean, yeah, okay. Iceman is now gay and all that kind of stuff, but I just really like this figure. Just the movement in it, the kind of bloopiness of it. Feels like it has a little bit of it's almost like it's made of clay instead of ice. And look at the hands. Look at his fingers. I just love this. I just think the movement, the design, it almost looks like the Silver Surfer in a way. This is more of a, because I'm not a big Iceman fan, especially now. But I do love this cover. I think it's really cool. If nothing else, just for the drawing. Now this one is, talk about great design. Look at this. I thought, I mean, it's simple, but it's so effective. I didn't read this, the all new X-Men. I don't know. Is that Jean Grey? But like is being like held captive and it looks like she's being auctioned or something. I don't know, but that spotlight coming in on, and then these weirdo aliens, you know, kind of silhouetted, partially silhouetted in the foreground. She's just isolated right there in that white, just really, I mean, you're just focused right on her. It just creates this just, you wouldn't, if you'd gone close on this, you wouldn't get the effect, because I assume she's being like up for sale or something like that, or maybe she's on trial. I don't know, but you would lose this sort of isolation and this focus on her and the situation she's in, you know, because I guess you could have done maybe a low angle close up with her right at the edge of the stage or a platform and got a bigger shot of her, but you still wouldn't get that isolation that is so effective in storytelling. Outpost 11 is joining us, says hello to Aaron in the chat. That would be me. So anyway, that's what drew me to this. This is just a really cool X-Men cover. This again is all new X-Men number 10. I don't know why I couldn't find an image with the trade dress on it, but I really like this. He has kind of a Pacheco vibe to him too, doesn't he? And I like this because it's like the old X-Men costumes, which I kind of like. And you got Wolverine in there because everybody loves Wolverine. I just think it's a great drawing. I think it's a really high energy. I think all of his stuff is well drawn. So I guess that's just kind of belaboring the point. But really dynamic, powerful imagery coming at you. This is a David Williams layout for sure. But I like his characters have a softness, a three-dimensional quality, a squishiness to them, if you will. And I really like that. It gives them weight, three-dimensionality. So it's a really nice cover there. He did a bunch of good Star Wars stuff. Let's take a look at a few of those. Now this like a you know, like a good Adam Hughes cover. The coloring on this is just as important, and I assume Stuart colored this himself. It's a great design. It's unfortunate that it's Luke. We all know what's happened to Luke. Sad. Then you've got your Obi-Wan, your young Obi-Wan. And I love this little Yoda here coming out of the cave. I think the design of this, it's very simple, but it's really cool and very effective. Kind of movie poster-ish, but terrific coloring. Excellent drawing, of course. This is just a really nice, effective color. That's not a bad description. I always thought Stuart was a cross between Alan Davis and Adam Hughes, sprinkled in a little Neil Adams. I don't disagree with that. But Stuart is one of those guys. There's a few guys, Ryan Sook, Stuart, Adam Hughes, the guys that just, they're living off how well they draw, right? They're not necessarily pushing heavy style at you. I mean, Stuart's got style. I'm not saying he doesn't, but it's really how well he draws that makes his stuff so appealing. Now, I like this one because, well, I like the vision. And you guys know how I struggle to draw the vision for some reason. But this is a really cool drawing of the vision. And you know what's interesting here? You notice how his arm, he does not center the Vision, because he's got the dead or knocked out or whatever they are Avengers below him. So it's a really fantastic layout and design. And he's got this really hot highlight around the Vision here on this side of him, which helps encircle the Avengers. So really great drawing, but also really good design. This, again, to me, is kind of a David Williams sort of layout. Kind of in your face, well balanced, well designed. Darren Wagner, why do you have problems drawing the Vision? I don't know. I finally drew a good Vision on Graybeards, and I colored it. It's so good, it's still sitting in my portfolio. People love it so much that I can't give it away. But I think it was actually pretty good. But I don't know why I was having such a trouble, because I was comparing it to like Buscema, and every time I drew it, it just didn't have the how do you want to say it? It didn't have the balls that Buscema's drawing of the Vision did. Maybe that was just getting in my head. I don't know. This is pretty cool. Again, I think what really makes this, I like the fact, some of you guys may disagree, but I liked it when guys were starting to make Spider-Man skinnier and not like super bulky. Like there's some great covers like Kane inked by Romita, and Romita covers where in the 70s and, more recently too, where Spider-Man was just really thick and muscular. And it just was like, he just looked like every other superhero when you draw him like that. But this, because I think Ultimate Spider-Man is still a teenager, right? I mean, he may have aged a little bit since the Ultimate Universe started, but I know he was in high school when the Ultimate Universe started. But I like this idea of a guy who, he's more like a spider. He's more like Ditko drew him, I guess. And so I like it that I don't want him so skinny, like he looks like a little kid, but and doesn't have any muscles. But this is kind of a nice little, range for him to be in. I like this. And I also think the black placement on this is freaking awesome. Now, granted, it's, he's being covered in this symbiote, so it sort of acts as the symbiote, but it also acts like shadow. And it just looks really cool. I only draw the red-green Vision, which is the same Vision. It's just coloring's different, but the drawing's the same, essentially. All right, so that's a good one. I don't have a favorite Stuart. I usually have a favorite of every artist I've done. Like, oh, this is my favorite cover of theirs. I don't know that I have a favorite Stuart cover. They're just all so well drawn. It's kind of like Adam Hughes. It's really difficult to pick up my favorite Adam Hughes cover because they're all just really well drawn. And so I like them all. This is a really good cover. Chewy. Having him kind of falling, I assume, towards, jumping into him this way. It's very interesting. Put the logo down at the bottom, which is funny. You could never do this when they were still in the spinner racks, but because the only thing that'd be sticking out would be this fur. You'd want, you need the Star Wars logo up there. But now that these are displayed on shelves in comic book shops or direct order or whatever, it doesn't matter where you put the logo. You can put the logo anywhere you want that suits the art. Crypto Catalyst is blaming Mark Waid for the Falcon becoming Captain America. And that's fine. I will accept that. This is true. He was getting more muscular as Ditko moved on. But he wasn't as thick as Romita drew him. And I used to draw, because I'm such a Romita fan of Spider-Man, I used to draw a very thick Spider-Man. And I finally got to a point where I'm drawing him skinnier, because it just makes more sense to me logically. We got one more here. So I'm not going to say this is my favorite because it isn't, but I do like it. And that's why it's on this list. Let me try that again. It'll be a little more effective with this. There it is. Good likeness. I like the hair. I like the design of it. Again, more of a movie poster kind of feel to it. But I thought he did. I thought Stuart did some really nice. I mean, I've always liked his stuff going back into the 90s when I first saw his stuff. But it's really progressively gotten better. And again, he does a nice job of capturing the likeness here. And but with a really nice design as well. Darren Wagner hates having the logo at the bottom, he says personally. Well, I would too, but when you don't have any display issues, it doesn't really matter where it's at. Yeah, Marcus Killigrew says this is a Drew Struzan feel to it, and it does. But see, you get that from Adam as well. Adam has kind of a Struzan feel to it. I would guess that, you know, Stuart is using inspiration from Struzan as well. But really nice work. I mean, he's just a really, really good artist. And that, you know, if you're that, you know, all the style stuff is secondary because the drawing is so good. And he certainly is that. I wish I'd spelled his name correctly. I'm kind of pissed at myself. I have to go back and correct all of that. All right. What else do we got left to do? It's 5:30. I started the show. This is a long show for me. I usually don't go this long. But, you know, when you have, or when I have an interview like I did with Mike and Pat earlier, I cut something out of the show, save it for next week. I'm giving you guys everything. This is like the full meal deal of this show. And so we're not done yet. We're going to finish strong with something I can't find. There it is. I just realized I didn't eat lunch today. I did not eat lunch today, and that is why I'm so hungry right now. Okay. I was going to get into some like philosophical discussion today and like, you know, theory involving, you know, dinosaurs and evolution and things like that. But I found some good Bigfoot videos, so we'll save that for another time. And let's just get right into the crap. Okay, this is one I call Jumping Bigfoot. I don't even remember what this is. So guys, take a good long look at this. You can please feel free to comment on the authenticity of what you're about to see. Who is this guy? Okay, here, this is where we wanted to be. Was no, not here. Here. Is that it? No. What the heck are we even watching? Here it is. Okay, I'm sorry. I got a little bit too much on the front end of this. So here we are someplace. Okay, so the bird, look at Bigfoot jump. Okay, and here's my question about this video. Yeah, sorry, there was a bunch of extra crap in there that I didn't want in there. Again, why is this video 3 seconds long? Okay, so he jumps down. Why are we not? What happens after he jumps down? Where's that video? See, that just, it automatically lends itself to telling you this is AI or this is fake because I've got 3 seconds of video and I don't want you to see any more because it falls apart or something. I don't know. But I think it got a good start here. So you've got, your fuzzy Bigfoot, which is always important. Can't see him well. Then he jumps, but he jumps. So we got some action, right? He lands. I'm ready. You can kind of see his face. I think isn't that his eye there and his nose right there as he's turning back? Isn't his head right there? So he's looking at you. He jumps. Then he jumps, turns and looks. Where's his face? Now I can't find his face. Okay, there's his head at the top of the picture. Kind of dips down. Lands. See, look at how quick they cut out of this. Lands, turns, looks behind him, heads out. I don't bring the good stuff to start the show. I just I'm warming you guys up with, which is Randy All says that Bigfoot is preparing a cease and desist letter for Aaron. Well, if he did send me, I would know for sure then that he existed. McLean 1 says it's 3 seconds because it's fake as hell. Exactly. McLean says, congrats on the new Zorro book, Mr. Lepresti. Well, it's not new, but thank you. I started working on it in October, and I got the first issue done in, I don't know, February, because I was just kind of working a little bit here and there, and I never heard from him like when the deadline was. So I was like, okay. And so now it's like, boom, we need the second issue by May 25th. I'm like, what? So now I'm on the clock. So anyway, so I will somehow balance it with Barbaric Adventures. Angela Curry says the only thing blurry was the Bigfoot. What is this exactly? The trees are it's either, of course, bad filmmaking or the interdimensional quality of the Bigfoot that's constantly phasing in and out of our reality. And that's why you always get blurry Bigfoot. Now, this they claim, I love it when they say this is the clearest Bigfoot you've ever seen. Now, this is an older video, but it is called the, what's this called? The Golden Crown Bigfoot video. Okay. And I think we've seen this before, but right there, you see him walking there. Right? So here he comes. And the reason they call it the Golden Crown is because right there, you see that kind of light hitting his arm and head? Creates that kind of golden crown, I guess. Now, this was, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago. And it's considered one of the better Bigfoot films, which is... That's saying a lot if this is one of their best ones. But it's one of these things that we love to see. You see just enough to go, ooh, what is that? But it's not clear enough for you to make any sort of real determination. So that's how you fake all the Bigfoot fans out. That could be real. Sure, it could be real, but it could also be really fake. But I do like that little stroll at the end. It's like he dips his head down, takes a big step, and then marches on. And again, where's the rest of this video? I mean, I realize at some point you stop. Look at that pigeon. At some point you stop filming, but not after 3 seconds. When you've just got the best shot of Bigfoot anybody's had since Patterson Gimlin, which is fake, by the way. And then you get this, and then you go, okay, well, I guess that's enough. No, dude. Now, granted, if I didn't have a gun or anything on me, I'd be a little apprehensive about following it. But dang, I think I'd still try and get a little more video than that. But anyway, there you go. That is one of the best Bigfoot videos out there. I'll let you determine what. Okay, now this is brand new. I'm almost embarrassed to show you this. I call this rock star video. Like if Bigfoot was in Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, or maybe Bachman Turner Overdrive, this is what he would look like. This is so brutally, clearly AI, it's ridiculous. But I was fascinated by this video because it looks like he parts his hair on the side. And he's got that beard going. But look at his features. He just looks like a dude, like a hippie or something. He doesn't look like an ape man or what we're used to seeing. This is like the well-coiffed sort of Bigfoot. So he's got his hairs parted on the side there. He's got a beard going, but he doesn't really look like he has a mustache. Maybe he does, and I can't really tell. His nose looks pretty normal. He's got a little bit of protruding brow, but not ridiculous. Dude, that guy is in Bachman Turner Overdrive. I'm positive. I guess he does have a stash and a beard. But look at the hair. It just looks like rock and roll hair, like in the 70s or something. I think the best thing I can say about this is fake. Yeah, Marcus Killer's going, dude, that's Neil Young. Austin Powers, that's a man, baby, says Steel Rage. People questioning, could this be Kelsey? This looks more like Kelsey than it looks like Bigfoot. They're saying, no, that's Demifoot. Now, also available right now on Fund My Comic, Demifoot by Darren Wagner. So you want to go over and check that out. Yeah, so I had to include it because it was new. I haven't seen it before, but not good. Not good. All right, now this one, I call this one Snowy Bigfoot. I can't remember if it's any good or not, but I guess we're about to find out, aren't we? I feel like at least one of these videos was decent. I'm not sure if we've gotten there yet, though. Let's take a look. Yeah, so there's a Snowy Bigfoot walking out there in the... so they see him behind the trees right here. And then we get, couple seconds of action. There he is. I don't know. I think I kind of like this in a very sort of like I don't like it very much at all, but I kind of like it anyway, is because it looks like he's got longer arms, more like, apish type arms. I like kind of the walk, the way his shoulders are kind of hanging. You don't get to see very much. So, and it's blurry, of course, and pixelated, which means it was probably added in Photoshop or AI or something like that. But that shot right there, it's not bad. But again, I'm asking myself, why am I not seeing more? I don't know. I don't know the answers. These are unsolved mysteries that we're trying to solve right now. And the biggest mystery is what's with the cameraman. So he walks right through that open area. And then that's it. Like, I mean, I get he goes behind the trees or something, but can't you, like, wouldn't he come out over here someplace? I mean, wouldn't he try and stay with it a little bit longer? I shake my cynical Bigfoot head at that video. This is now for you Canadian folks out there, and I know we've got several of them. This is Alberta Bigfoot, as in Alberta, Canada. This may be our best video. I think it is. I think I saved the best for last. whether it's actually good or not is up to you. There he is. See him? See our buddy Bigfoot? I like how he's kind of walking faster because he's going downhill. You know how you do when you're, and you've got the shadow on the trees, right? And it's, of course, you can do that with fake, with the AI, or, you can digitally put that shadow in there. But the fact that they put it in there, I kind of like. I don't really like the way he's walking, though. Kind of too much like a dude, like a regular old dude. But we get a little bit of a longer video here, right? He's walking through the trees there. We see him come out there. And again, camera doesn't move. We don't keep following him. Why would this should be like, you would film this for like 20 minutes if you could see him. You wouldn't just cut it off right there. Now, granted, someone, I think it was Marcus, argued last week that when you're zoomed in from that far away, it's hard to keep them in frame because you don't know exactly where they are. And I get that, but the camera's not moving. Look at that. This is an AI image right here. The problem with AI Bigfoots they make them too ape-like. This just looks like a gorilla, right? If it's Bigfoot, he's got to be somewhere between a gorilla and a man. And like this nose has got to be less ape-like and more human-like, probably, would be my guess. But I do like it. I do like the look of this thing, this AI Bigfoot. But it's more of a dirty gorilla than it is a Bigfoot. Wait a minute. I'm not done with this. Why did I end this? I feel like we need to look at this a little bit closer. So he catches him right here, right? Coming out of the woods, zooms in, and then we see the camera doesn't really move. He just lets Bigfoot walk out of camera. So I don't know, judging by the wide shot here, he could have walked all the way down here before we lost him, which would have been ideal, but they lose him right there. Now, where you can catch this to see if it's fake or not is see his emergence from the woods. He doesn't really, they start with him already there. So I'd like to have seen him like emerge out of the shadows. That would have been kind of cool. But we don't. We get him already there, which I guess lends to credibility, right? Because you see him come out of the shadows, then you turn your camera on, right? You wouldn't have your camera set and then have him walk out of the shadows like you knew he was coming. The shadow looks pretty decent, though. I just think his walk, let's be real, his walk is too human-like. This looks more like a guy in a suit, although I don't really think that's what it is either. It could be. But to get a guy out there in a suit and you're up on a mountain on the other side, a hill on the other side, would be challenging. I think this is probably a computer generated image. But what you really need, like if you had like one of the old Disney animators, like doing CG effects with Bigfoot, this would have a lot, it'd be more realistic. You'd believe it. These are by guys that don't really know that stuff, and they're just putting these images in there, I would think. I mean, I'm not totally opposed that it's a guy in a suit, but I just find it really difficult to set this up. That's a guy in a suit. And really, what's the need of getting a guy in a suit anymore when you've got computer programs that are accessible to just about anybody that can create this stuff for you? So what am I saying? I'm saying I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But I do appreciate the effort there. That was a little bit longer video. We got him going down a hill. It was a little bit challenging, maybe more believable than some of the others. So Randy L says it's clearly Bigfoot on his way to Kelsey's house. Cryptid catalas. Woo! Cryptic Catalyst, who of course I believe is our new resident cryptozoologist, says that one has a possible on it. I agree. I do. I'm not convinced of the walk. Although I'm not really sure. What we get? I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. What would convince me if I saw like, one of these Bigfoot dudes walking? If I see a walk that really would convince me, I don't know what I'm looking for. But that just felt a little bit too much more like a humanly stroll down a hill. So, but I could be wrong, it could be wrong. We could have, there could be Bigfoots out there that we just in 70 years haven't been able to discover one clearly. But I'm always open to it. I want proof. Prove me wrong. That's why I'm desperate to be proven wrong. Comic Books in Cahoots. Comic Books in Cahoots says even Bigfoot doesn't buy that. Angela Curry says people like to wear suits. They are called furries. So what you're suggesting is possibly if you go down another half a mile, there's like a convention center there, and this person is headed to the con as a furry. That whole furry thing really creeps me out. Okay. Jonathan Nellis says he seems to be light on his feet. Yeah. He's not really he is getting a little bit of that downhill bounce though. That's the one thing I do kind of like about it that makes me think, would you get that kind of gravity pull to it if you were doing a CGI thing? I mean, you really have to know what you're doing to get that. Or an AI type thing. I could buy a dude in a costume, but how do you get him up there? I mean, people will go to great extremes to pull off frauds and hoaxes because it's our nature to lie and be dishonest. We have to fight against our nature to be good people. I get that. But that requires some effort if I was a dude in a suit. So I get that. And so I appreciate, if that's what it is, I appreciate the effort. But I'm just not quite sold on it. We'll see what next week brings. There's always, as Rudolph and his little Rudolph girlfriend used to say, there's always tomorrow for dreams to come true. So we'll see if our Bigfoot dreams come true next week. But I want to thank you guys. Appreciate it. If I do want to send out a quick reminder that I am pushing a campaign, but it's not a campaign that I should have to talk you into. This is a campaign you should back because it's cool, and it is. So when we're still stuck on the mark of the beast too, which makes me very uncomfortable. We're at 407 backers, $31,666, and we're still there. But I want to encourage you that if you haven't backed yet, please follow the link in the description of this video that will take you right to this crazy good campaign. I think you're really going to dig it, and be very pleased when you get the final product. So, and we've only got, 9 days left on this campaign. It was a 49-day campaign. So it's been going for 40 days and 40 nights. How about that? And so I do want to bring it to an end, but you got certain financial goals so that I don't have to dig into my pocket to pay everybody. So I want to dig into your pocket. It makes perfect sense to me. So anyway, continue if you will. I'd greatly appreciate you guys pushing it. You guys have done a great job. Quite frankly, I see it all over the place, and I appreciate you guys retweeting it and keeping it in front of people. I will continue to do so as well. Join us for Graybeards on Wednesday, where we have a free art raffle giveaway for this campaign, and we'll have some more artwork so you guys can help me pick out my final cover design. A lot of good stuff. So join us on Graybeards on Wednesday, 2:00 Pacific time. Also, please join us here next week. Randy Howell for $2.73 Canadian. He says, Bigfoot says, back Barbaric Adventures, and I could not have said it better myself. Thank you, guys. We will see you next week right here on Graybeards, on Comics, Cryptids, and Cannonballs. Good night, everybody.